Spoilers of the Damned.
Hello and welcome to Spoilers of the Damned, episode number 20. We made it, guys.
2-0. 1 year away from drinking.
Technically, this is episode 21 if we're counting the first pilot episode, but I don't think we actually count that. So,
well, it's counted as 0, right? So.
Yeah, so we count it, but we kind of don't count it as well.
Well, no, I mean, on a number line, it starts with 0. So we are definitely counting it. It's just that there's...
Well, basically what I'm saying is we can drink. That's fine.
He just wants to drink.
We don't need to wait.
I don't want to wait another year. I need pints on pints on pints on pints.
Wait, did you say drink? Oh, there's mead here. Brilliant.
Mead.
Oh, mead this week instead of Disaronno.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the mead was right next to me because I'm with my girlfriend, so...
Mine
Not
is
that we
a
drink all day or anything.
diet
That's how it is. It's crazy.
What?
What? No. Right. Yeah, some mead is good. It's a bit sweet.
It's like you're eating it.
No, I'm drinking, not eating.
Like,
frozen
what's the
mead.
difference between mead and beer?
Honey.
Yes.
Honey. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think mead is fermented honey by itself, and whatever else they do to it to make it mead. But beer is fermented, like what, wheat or corn or something like that, barley.
Well, hops. I think.
Hops.
Yeah.
What's a fucking hops? I don't even know what that is.
English might call hops something else. Well, we might call it hops. You might call it something else. So, hops are the flower of the hop plant Humulus lupulus.
All of that was in the pronunciation.
Trying to see what they're called in the US.
It's hops.
You guys just if it grows out of the ground and it ain't corn, it's herbs. Is that right?
It's hops. At least according to all the beer commercials I've ever seen, they always call it hops. I imagine it'd be harder to change the word to something else, something more industry-like if the commercial's promoting it as hops. So I'm pretty sure everyone just calls it hops. I think it's hops. I've just never seen or understood what a hops is. Because to me, hops is a verb, not an herb.
Herb.
Was that good? I liked it. It came out of my mouth immediately after I thought of it, so it was pretty good. I liked it. So
that's how podcasting works.
Yes.
First rule of podcasting: say some words.
Say some words. Speak your mouth, not your mind.
Oh no!
We've been doing this 20/21 times now. We've kind of learned some things about podcasting along.
We've learned all the things. We're masters.
We're all wearing robes with hoods, all runes etched in the edges. We're masters of podcasting.
I want to retire my sweet ad revenue money. Give it to me. Give me my 10p.
You my 10p. So last me forever.
Cents.
Well, speaking of ad revenue and runes,
what?
Yeah.
What?
We're getting more. We're being sponsored.
We should probably say up front that today we're going to be talking eventually about Hellblade: Senua Sacrifice, which is a game for the PS4 and PC.
I think it's on PC.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yes,
I want to believe it's on PC, so I'm just going to promote it as if it's a PC game.
Yeah.
Everything is on PC nowadays, usually.
It's on both Ps.
On both Ps. It's a 2P game. Not two players.
That's what we say in the industry. Yeah, it's on both Ps.
You heard of AAA? This is 2P. Double
P. Oh my god.
Double P game. Kill me.
Kill me. Yeah, right. Yeah, I just confirmed PS4 and PC. It's on the Humble Store and GOG and Steam and PlayStation Store.
Cool. Strange it's not on the Xbox. That's been the case for a lot of stuff.
It kind of saved me 30 quid it not being on the Xbox, to be honest.
Yeah.
30 quid, well saved.
Because I will hasten to add, the reason why I said runes and AdSense is that I watched a really cool Let's Play by some guy on YouTube who I can't remember the name of.
Well, you can just make one up. I'm sure it'll land on someone's YouTube channel. So many LPers out there.
I'll put a link to I'll put a link below to this guy. How do you say this weeaboo name?
Fuck you. Fuck you, weeaboo name.
I jest.
Yeah.
I watched Chris's Let's Play, which was great. I really liked it, actually.
Yeah.
It was the first time I've actually sat and watched a full let's play of a game with no commentary.
Oh.
And it was really enjoyable because I could kind of see moments where you were working out the same thing I was working out. Like I was watching you play it and I could see you twig and kind of like do what you needed to do at roughly the same time I was kind of working out what you needed to do, which was really fun because it's the fact that comes across in the video. Like you get a sense of that. This is really cool. So there will be a link below. Warning: it is 8 hours. Do not sit and watch all 8 hours at once like I did.
It wasn't meant to be binged at all. But unless you're playing it, in which case that's a different story because you have the interactivity to keep you more invested in the game, and of course you're responsible for the choices you see on screen, rather than seeing somebody bumble about trying to figure out a puzzle or something. But. Yeah, like that's one of the things that I'm just going to say it out loud that I make sure I do if I do anything is I try to cut out all the bumbling so that you can just enjoy the game because that's the whole point. You know, to me, that's what the point of a Let's Play is. Like you and me play the game together. If I do the commentary thing, it just sort of eats at the actual game itself. It sort of destroys the experience. I just can't imagine what it would be like besides the voices in the game. Talking to the player, I can't imagine what it would be like if I was commentating over it. You wouldn't hear a thing. You would lose all the atmosphere. So
that's true. I think the Let's Plays without commentary are still quite important because I think you can get a better feel for the game as well. Like, so if it's, for example, if it's a game you're a bit unsure on, because you can't always trust review scores. No. It's good to just be able to check something like that without someone going, "Hey guys, welcome back." And sharp start, note off.
Where it's like part 3. I've tried to jump in the bin for the past 2 episodes because that's the point of the game.
I hate
not
those.
to actually enjoy the game.
Close. 30 seconds in, close. But they're also good. I've used them in for other games in the past. Like if I'm ever really stumped on a game that I cannot be bothered to try and work out. If it's something that I've overthought, which I do in games sometimes, where I overthink a puzzle and it turns out to be something really simple. They're good just for looking for walkthroughs, really.
Yeah.
They're good just try and find solutions. Go, oh, so that's what. Oh, and then you pause it and go back. And, and they're just you can gauge whether you enjoy the game or not.
If you're watching a video of Devil May Cry or whatever, and you want to see where all the missions are or where all the lost souls are in the DMC remake or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's like, man, I can't find that last one in Mission 3. And you watch a video and you find the guy who just happened to turn around at a certain point and it was above him in an archway or something that you just always walked under and you just never looked behind you. And it's like, son of a bitch, it was right there the whole time.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a lot more tolerable to watch a video like that than it is, hey, everybody who likes subscribe, man. The entire
I gotta talk every 5 seconds.
It's the embodiment of those wacky flailing inflatable tube arm man.
Wait, it's but
it's just whoa.
Yeah.
Well, it's by principle now. If I'm looking for a game or something, even if it's a scary game, I'm trying to find some gameplay footage of it, like Soma or something. If it's got one of those cookie cutter thumbnails where it's them pulling a shocked or scared face next to an object from the game, I just do not click on it.
Yeah, there's no reason.
That's
to
clickbait. Fuck off.
It's a waste of time.
Go away. Exactly.
And I guess another thing
I'm so
too.
scared.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I think there's a very clear definition between people who are there to watch the game and people who are just there to watch the person playing the game.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's still entertainment. It's just
it's just different.
Yeah, it's just different, and it's not what I'm looking for, and not what I try to produce. There are some things I do with commentary, but I was learning, and I finished projects, so I don't want to delete them.
Yeah, exactly.
But another thing that I actually like about the no commentary stuff is if you want to use gameplay video without owning the game or having to get there yourself with the game that you own, you can find someone's no commentary video and then just download that video and then clip out the part that you want to show, if it's a boss fight or if it's just an atmospheric thing that you just want to add to your video that is unrelated to the game at large, but just as an example, let's say you're talking about experience points in a video game and you want to use some Final Fantasy footage and you just don't want to put in the 40 hours it would take to beat the game so you could record the whole thing and cut that one clip out. But you also want to have the music.
Somewhat reasonable.
Yeah, but you still want to have the music without some guy farting in the microphone the whole time. No commentary works that way.
Exactly, and then you just put a credit in the description and at the end of the video, and you're sorted.
Yeah,
because that's all most people really want anyway.
Right. It's sort of like a philanthropic approach to video games when you do no commentary Let's Plays. It's like, I want to bring this out and share it with people, and also I don't mind if people share it with others, And it's not about ad revenue or AdSense. It's just like, like for me, I genuinely just want people to look at what I did and go, yeah, that was cool. Let's talk about it. And I don't know if that's like narcissistic or whatever, but at this point in my life, I don't care anymore. I just want to share what I do with other people.
Yeah, that's fine. That's the right way to go.
One of the good guys. One of the YouTube good guys.
One of the less of a dying breed.
Basically, yeah. I mean, I was talking about this with a coworker, how like now when you go on YouTube, you can like, share, subscribe, and then click that little bell icon so you can make sure you get notifications from that channel.
Yes.
But that's just, it's like the bubble of like social media or whatever has like stretched and like, and that's a bad metaphor. Let me try again. You could say like, share, subscribe, because that's all you needed to do at one time, because you would have maybe a dozen of people that you would share and subscribe from, right? But then when everyone saw PewDiePie making money off of it, then everyone wanted to have Let's Play channels, and everyone wanted to have review channels, everyone wanted to have video game whatever channels. Then you have like hundreds, then thousands, then maybe a million people trying to do the same thing, because it's a global phenomenon right now. So now it's like if you subscribe to 150 or 3,000 people, then you'll never see them in your subscription feed. So now you have to click another layer of notification so you can see what they're doing, and it's like you don't really sincerely subscribe to those other people. You just sort of clicked it because they told you so much.
Which in itself is quite frustrating, because I subscribe to someone because I want to watch their shit.
Yeah.
So I want their shit to appear to me. I don't want like to have to, because sometimes I won't watch everything that someone does. Yeah. So for instance, I'm subscribed to Angry Joe right now.
Yeah.
But I haven't been for a while. I've just come back recently, and he posts stuff that is, say for instance, it looks like he's just done some kind of like board game tabletop video thing. Which, it's not that I'm not interested, it's just that I'll check it out someday if I care. Yeah, but right now I don't. So, but that doesn't mean I don't want his other stuff to appear to me. So, you become slave to the YouTube algorithm. I just wondered there now when you mentioned it, how many subscriptions I have, but I can't even tell that. I'm on my subscriptions page on YouTube and it won't tell me how many I have.
It used to. I'm pretty sure it used to.
Well, it used to.
Yep. I can't find it anymore. I'm just scrolling down the list, and there isn't a number.
It's like YouTube has softly unsubscribed you from people that you haven't actively engaged with for whatever reason or another, which is relatively unfair, Yes. But at the same time, a lot of that stuff is classified as like I would consider it background noise, because you haven't sought them out to see what they're doing lately anyway, so you haven't really missed out on anything. But at the same time, it's kind of rude, because now you're like, oh, did you upload something? I didn't notice. And they're like, oh, I guess you didn't want to see my video. When in reality, YouTube is just like, nah, you don't want to see this guy's video.
Watch PewDiePie.
Yeah, watch these other popular YouTubers.
And maybe there's like 10 people that I watch all of the time, everything they release. Yeah. But other people I tend to just binge. So, a prime example of this is a channel like Games Done Quick, which only releases videos in like 2 periods of the year. So, I won't be watching videos from them all the time. So, if I want to make sure I get the videos when they go up, I have to click the little bell. But then that means when they release like 300 videos in January, my phone will just keep dinging and dinging. So.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
I go through my subs list and cull it every so often, because there are some people I just get bored of, or say for instance, I always remain sub to Vsauce because I like Michael, and I'm sub now to Vsauce 3, but I very rarely watch Vsauce 3, so I'll probably unsub that again. And I know I've been sub to him before, and I've been sub to Vsauce 2 as well, but Michael's where it's at, so I just stay sub to Vsauce. But I'm sub to people on here as well who do like guitar videos, and they release once in a blue moon, so.
Yeah.
When are you gonna? You can't have the bell for everybody.
Yeah, it's a bit of a flawed system. It's not perfect.
Yeah, nothing ever really is. But the problem was that, like, I think that YouTube never really should have opened up their entire like user interface to like ad revenue for everyone. Like, it used to be something that you would have to become a partner with YouTube before you could receive ad revenue, regardless of your hits, your likes, or whatever. And that's why you had very select few people. But now it's like, since everyone and their mother, even a dog or a cat, can have a YouTube channel. I mean, they don't manage it themselves, but they definitely perform for the internet. You know, there's just so many things that they have to try to organize and keep track of. I don't really fault YouTube, but at the same time, it's like, I really don't like what they're doing, because it just makes it so smaller YouTubers can never really get seen unless they, like, quit their full-time job, quit their social life, get the camera, put it on them, upload, be successful in that video all the time, every time, to be funny to everyone all the time, and so they will like, share, subscribe, and you make everyone see everyone's video. And anyway, like, if you want to get started, it's really difficult now.
Oh yeah, it's not easy.
So
Not in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
it's kind of horrifying.
I mean, I would I would have thought Adpocalypse would have well, it has turned some people away from YouTube, but they've just turned to Patreon. So
Yeah.
Patreon, which is probably going to have a very similar situation to the one you're describing for YouTube, eventually, where it reaches the point where there's so many people on it that you know, you have to kind of pick and choose who you support. At the moment, I don't support very many people, just because, well, it's not that I'm a skinflint, but, you know, times is hard.
Yeah, times is hard. I find it hard.
Times is hard,
I find it hard to
and-
justify giving somebody $5 a month for something I get for free already anyway. Like LGR,
Well,
for example, is a
yeah.
good example. He's a great man, great, YouTuber, honest, reliable, responsible. He deserves my money, but he's got enough.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. He's got nearly 700,000 subscribers at the time of podcasting.
Jesus Christ.
876 videos. Now, you know, I know that it's different for different people, based on the kind of algorithms that YouTube has and watch time and everything else. But from what I've heard people say, you know, with those kind of numbers, he should be making enough a month from his videos, really, that he doesn't need Patreon.
Yeah, he shouldn't. That's just like extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't fault the guy, because you know, that's the ideal situation, is to, you know, open multiple streams of revenue and what have you. But yeah, it gets frustrating because, you know, again, it's a situation where if you're just starting out, you'll kind of, people will look at you and go, oh, you release a video once in whenever because you've got a full-time job and you're trying to. I won't sub you, but I you know, this guy puts out videos every day. I'll throw in $5 or whatever.
Exactly.
So.
Oh boy.
The other
Yeah,
thing
money.
The other thing LGR does, though, that makes a lot more sense is he makes timeless videos. Like, he covers things that you wouldn't normally cover, like IBM-specific machines or video games that, like, in the box, not just recording video of the game, but actual, this is what the box looked like, this is what the instruction manual looked like, this is what all that stuff looked like. So if you had any memory of a specific game, chances are you can go to him and see that without having to watch gameplay video or someone who hacked the version of it, because not only does he have the game, but he has the system that's time appropriate to run it. Like a 486 DX100 or, you know, like an IBM or an Apple IIe or a Commodore 64. He actually has that stuff up and running, and he can play it on the source material, on the source system.
Yeah, and I've seen the video he did breaking down how he kind of runs things. And I mean, he has a storage unit that he pays for. So it's a business for him, and I totally understand that. Yeah. And his content is great. I love his content. But yeah, I kind of do the thing that you mentioned where you look at people and you go, are you struggling to eat and make videos? No. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
And this is someone who doesn't make that much money on YouTube, and I feel like they deserve some, you know, extra money from it. Then, you know, that's
oh yeah,
usually
totally.
what it is.
I've got a friend who I know kind of tangentially. He does podcasts and some videos and stuff on YouTube, and I sub him because you know, I know that he's currently, you know, you can't track him down from these details. He works in the NHS, so I know he doesn't have a very, like, you know, amazing job. So it's very difficult for him to find the time to actually do videos, and quite often he's on his Patreon apologizing to people, saying, I'm sorry, I can't do it this week because, you know, life got in the way. And I'm like, dude, it's okay.
Yeah, it's like life gets in the way, you know, life's more important.
Yeah. And that kind of goes back to the way I do things, because I actually just enjoy, like when I did the Hellblade thing, I just finished it. I just recorded it all from beginning to end, edited it all from beginning to end, and then uploaded the whole thing Netflix style. Instead of like, okay, here's episode 1. Stay tuned for next week to see episode 2. And then a week happens and I have like overtime or something and I can't get to it, or it's just not good enough and I'm not happy about it. It's like, it's so much better to just calm down. Don't make promises. Never bet on a promise.
No.
Don't make any promises. Like, like a weekly podcast might make promises. And then
we adhere to them.
And then just put out the project when it's done. Nix the promise, just complete the project. And I think that's the way I'm going to start doing things from now on. So, and as of right now, I'm recording a DMC, the reboot from Ninja Theory. And I'm really enjoying it, and I really can't wait to put it up, because I know that everyone can already see it, see it played on the internet right now. It's been out for a few years, but the way I'm doing it is, Netflix style once again, and I'm actually going to add like all the commentary stuff, like post finishing the game. So it's going to be like a lengthy, like, yeah, I played this game. This is what I remember. This is why it was good. This is what it's important. Sort of take notes, that kind of thing. I want it to be as timeless as like an LGR video, where like you can go back and see that game and be like, oh shit, yeah, oh, okay, and then in that time period, this is why they thought that. Oh, well, that's kind of cool. Instead of, hey guys, this guy looks stupid, lol. Look
at them graphics.
Yeah, these guys don't know how to do graphics like the game that I really like a lot, or whatever.
Subscribe to find out which one it is.
That's my favorite way of doing it, though, and I think. Did I introduce you to Research Indicates on YouTube?
Oh, yes,
Chris?
you did.
You?
Yes, yeah, you did. With the Jurassic Park Trespasser LP.
Yeah.
Like the
Matt, have you ever heard of Research Indicates on YouTube?
No.
It's a lot of fun.
He basically he's one of those people who were kind of involved with the Something Awful forum, where Let's Play basically originated.
Okay.
And he did this Let's Play of Jurassic Park Trespasser.
Oh, Trespasser,
yeah. But he's the way he did it was that he kind of like he would explain things nicely and kind of I can't tell if it was recorded as he played or whether it was post-com, but I find post-com is generally, with 99% of people better or more informative than I mean, the only person I found who can do it live while they're playing a game that I really like is Carcinogen, which is why I watch his speed demos.
What was the YouTuber again?
Research Indicates he might be on. Well, I hope he's still on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, his stuff should still be on YouTube. I don't think he's actively doing anything, though. Like, you basically go there and check out the Trespasser LP, which is, like, when you share that with me, like, that's what I wanted to do from day one, and I just never really got to doing that until, well, now, when I'm going to start doing the DMC thing. Like, I understand how you're supposed to do this kind of stuff now, but you do have to, like, break apart from the idea of making money doing Let's Plays, which at the time, when Research Indicates did Jurassic Park Trespasser and the Something Awful forums, that was actually during the time, I believe, when YouTube didn't have the YouTube partnership, ad revenue thing going on. So people literally did it all just for fun. They put in their hard-earned hours.
They did it for the craft.
Yeah, the craft. The craft. It's an art, It is. People just like trying to do Pollock paintings all fucking day when they need to be doing masterpieces. Quit slapping paint on canvas. Let's fucking do some painting. Let's do some art. I have a deep-seated feeling for Let's Plays, and I think I hate it because in one way it's like, it's not a career choice. Like, it's not going to replace me doing factory labor at all. But at the same time, I still feel strongly enough to do it and to try to do it in the way that I'd like to see it done. And then everyone can enjoy that. And I may never, ever get recognized for it. But if I do, it just feels good every single time someone leaves a comment and it's like a positive one. And I'm just like, vindication. It feels so good.
You're like, someone I don't know liked it. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. Like, I did a Portal 2 no commentary, and I skipped out some of the, like, how do I solve this shit? I cut that out and try to make it seamless. And at the end of the Let's Play, somebody actually put on a paragraph of positive comments. Like, man, I actually got to hear GLaDOS say everything that she says. I actually got to hear the fucking blue robot, or what was his name, Walter something Space?
Wheatley.
Thank you. You have to hear Wheatley say everything that he says, and like this was really enjoyable. And I liked how you played with the game. Like when you see something that says "Don't lean on a rail," you immediately leaned on the rail. But you showed it in frame, and then you did it, so you created a visual gag. And I was like, yes. He gets
it.
That's where it's transformative. Yelling over it, going buy my T-shirt is not transformative.
Yeah,
but the way you're doing it is transformative.
The worst one is when they're pretending to be confused or pretending to be scared.
Oh, that's
oh my
the
god,
worst.
this is the scariest game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my heart is racing. A jump scare. Oh, it's the scariest. Yeah,
like
these are the kind of people who, and this is a nice little segue. I'm lining up for myself here. The kind of people who I would not go and watch it with.
Yeah.
What? Go and watch what? I'm sorry, kill me now. Kill me.
It, providing gags since, 1980 something?
I've reached
I'm
my
a Stephen
full...
King fan, I should know.
I've reached my full potential. That's it. My full potential has been reached. I must now end my life. I made the easiest joke in the universe.
Doesn't get any better from here. You've hit a rock bottom, and you're solidly, squarely sucked in by gravity, and you'll never get back up again from this.
No. I'm so disappointing that I won't even float.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We all float, except him. He made a terrible joke.
But
Oh, by the way, fact fans, in 1986, the novel was released.
fact fans.
Yeah, that was the year before I was born.
Fact fans.
900-page novel, right? Wasn't it 900 pages?
It's
I
more.
literally just closed the tab. It's long. It's long.
They won't fault
didn't
me
say
if they
that
find
was in
out
the
it gets
seal.
855 pages. It wasn't actually 900.
First edition printing, pages 1,138.
Jeez, it's long, Georgie.
Yes, it's long.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind talking a
it's
little bit about
huge.
it. I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the TV show. I never read the book.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so I'm that guy. But on the other hand, like the reason I never did was because the cover always kind of scared me a little bit. Like I didn't actually start watching horror movies until my like late teens, almost early adults kind of stuff. So I just never really I was never in on the I was never in on the It craze at all. I was never watching TV for that kind of stuff, and when I worked at like a video rental store, I would see it on the shelf, and I'm like, ugh, creepy clown, I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go do work somewhere else. Why would I watch this movie? It's got to be the most terrifying thing in existence. I will never fucking watch this movie. But recently, I watched the Red Letter Media coverage about the new It, and in comparison about the old It TV show and the new It movie. And the first thing they said was that whenever you speak to someone who has read the It book or wants to talk about It, they're like, "Did you know that the It book ended with an underage orgy?" And I was like,
Yes, no,
I didn't know that shit. And I started like diving
Yeah.
into this, and I'm like, Stephen King is a goddamn maniac.
It is an issue of contention
Yeah,
amongst the community.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like people are like, "I want a perfect adaptation." Like, you don't need to see that. You don't need to see. I don't want to go and see a horror movie where it suddenly at the end turns very explicit and into a porno, because I don't want Beth suddenly going, "Ben, you're so big." I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Underage. I don't want to. No. Anyway, no. Fuck off. Get
It's
fucked.
one of those things. As a Stephen King fan, I can tell what Steve King was trying to do.
Oh,
I mean, basically, the whole idea is that to defeat it, or at least put it on hold until 27 years later when they return as adults, the only way to kind of overcome it is to overcome their kind of like childhood, fears of childhood. That's it. Basically, preys on the fears of children and makes them afraid, because that's basically the way they taste.
That's what it does. Yeah, because isn't there like a line where it's hinted that it doesn't even need to eat children? It just thinks that it has to because that's what monsters do. There's a line that kind of hints towards
I
it.
can't remember because it's been a long time since I read the book. I read it in secondary school, and even then, when the kids start having sex at the end, there's no real way to not say that.
Yeah, you're like, what? You're like, what's going on?
Like she leaves.
don't understand
Even I
this.
was kind of like looking over my shoulder, going, "Okay, is everyone looking at me going, this kid is reading filth.
Yeah, it's just a really weird thing to have in a book. Any fucking book, it's weird.
Yeah.
It is,
And then the
it is.
10-year-olds have an orgy, and they
Yes,
pass the
it's a
female
bit
character
bizarre.
around.
The idea is that they lose their innocence
Yeah.
because that's the only way to defeat it,
Yeah.
and that makes sense, and it's a cool thing, but the way it's done is
There's other ways.
questionable.
There's other ways to do it, Steve. They
Yeah.
don't have
I would
to all
imagine
have
even
sex.
in the 80s it was questionable. Now it just seems bizarre.
It's
Yeah.
fucking creepy.
Like, when I was talking to my coworker about this, because we have a lot of time to just chit chat, and he and I used to want to like Stephen King quite a bit. I used to think of him as like the cornerstone of all horror, and he is as far as published works and movies and things inspired by his works. But like when you realize that he was kind of a coked out crazy guy who just got lucky with his publishing.
Yeah.
Like, then it all sort of falls apart. Like, the whole image of Stephen King being this master of horror, it turns out that he's just a guy who was into drugs, and he wrote shit that people thought was interesting. Almost like Lewis Carroll and the Alice in Wonderland thing, but this guy just did not stop. He had like 61 plus books over time, and like we like to make fun of the fact that like he comes in with this like 1,000-page tome, and he drops it on his publisher's desk, and he's like, here you go. He's like scratching himself, and the publisher's like,
It's book one!
yeah, so it's like, well, what's this book called? He's like, it's it! I don't give a fuck! Just give me the money, I need Coke!
He's had several kind of like eras that the fans kind of refer to, and yeah, there was the one era where he was kind of, addicted to drugs and drink and everything else.
Well, he's always...
Quite a lot of his writers, a lot of his characters are alcoholic writers, and that's no coincidence.
It's always some kind of artist or creative person that has some kind of substance abuse problems.
Yeah.
Or is troubled in some way. I will say that almost all of his stories have a really cool premise. Most of them don't have a good ending.
I think we've mentioned this before, but he's quite inconsistent when it comes to the endings.
Yeah.
There have been a couple of good ones, but overall, they kind of tend to fall a bit flat.
Yeah, it's like The Stand. The first half of The Stand is just brilliant. It's fantastic. And then it goes to the wayside a little bit, and then the ending is really... What the fuck?
Yes, I mean...
God
The
sucks.
Strand is a literal example of Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah,
So
it's like, God, you're a dick.
yeah,
You're a dick, God. Like, I'm going to step in now, but not when everyone was fucking dying of the plague. That shit was hilarious.
yeah. And blow up some of the good guys while we're at it. But they kind of they got a feeling that they were on a suicide mission.
You
But
arsehole, man.
bringing it back to it.
Yes. Bringing it back. Oh, kill me.
Yes, bringing it back.
Kill me.
Oh my god.
Bring it back. No, just shoot me in the brain.
The new movie has just come out.
Yes.
As we're recording, it's probably by the time you listen to this, been out a couple of months. But I was hearing good things about it. I just realised every time I say it, it's it.
Yeah.
It's it.
It's hard to talk about.
I'm just having a bit of a kind of like
when you've
Pontypool moment here.
yeah, like when you said, I've heard good things about it. It's the same as saying I heard good things about, I don't know, Conan or something. But you're also trying to use the general, like, neutral form of the word it, like as in a thing that's just generally a thing. That thing, it. But no, it's also a proper noun. Fuck you, Stephen King.
Yeah, god damn it, Steve.
I'm going to try. The film is very difficult to talk about, in the sense of the right way to name drop the title.
Yes, that's the way it's hard.
It's very difficult. Kill me.
Oh boy!
Someone shocked him.
Keith, I am a girlfriend. Take me out the back. Put a shotgun in my brain.
So,
well,
not literally. Shoot me.
So Tom, what did you think about it while we're here with it?
Well, basically, what I wanted to say was it was great.
Yeah.
As someone who's read the book, has watched the miniseries, both when he was a bit younger and recently when it came out on Blu-ray earlier this year.
It's not aged well. The original. It's good elements, but it's not aged well.
Yeah, it's when I was a lot younger, it struck me as scarier
Oh, yeah.
than it is now. I mean, now it's just kind of campy fun.
Yeah.
Tim Curry is amazing.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's why you watch the film. You watch the film for Tim Curry.
Yeah, and I mean, he kind of managed to impress this idea of Pennywise on a whole generation of kids. And now we've got the new one coming out, and I think it's been a huge success in terms of its budget. I believe it's made so much money that which is really good because it kind of, although it is a remake / reboot, and although it is an adaptation of a book. And a known property, so it's not like it's daring.
No.
At the same time, it's a horror film that's was it rated R in America? I can't remember.
Probably.
What was it in this country?
It's about 15 over here, I think. I'd assume it was 15.
Yeah,
it was. I'm pretty sure because there were idiots in the cinema with us when we saw it.
It might have been cut.
I nearly threw water at them. It was funny. Oh no, I didn't. Oh, that's fine. No, these kids came in like halfway through and were really loud and obnoxious and checking their phones, and luckily they left because I was going to throw my water bottle at them.
Yeah, it's
those are the best kind of
it's
people.
definitely rated R here, so I just checked it.
It was quite violent in places.
Yes, it was, and it I will say, although I enjoyed it, there were a couple of dodgy effects that weren't quite right in my view.
Yeah.
The worst offender was was right at the start, actually.
Yes, it was. I'm glad you said that.
Basically, when Pennywise bites Georgie's arm off, that to me looked incredible. He just does less kind of like, the chomps in Mario.
Yeah.
Like, basically, he just like goes honk on his arm.
Luckily they saved it because there's a really straight afterwards there's a really creepy shot where he's trying to crawl away and his arm stretches out of the sewer and just gets longer and longer and grabs him. I'm like, you brought it back, but that moment had me a bit worried. It's like, oh, that looked a bit shit, and also didn't really need to see him bite his arm off. I
felt like it was unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's fine. But there's this thing, like my brain does this thing, and when there's the bit when Pennywise is trying to fuck with Bill later, with like showing him Georgie, and Georgie has a severed arm. I'm sitting there thinking, the only reason now he's appearing in front of Bill with a severed arm is to fool the audience. That's the only reason. Because Bill didn't know he lost an arm.
So they believe it really is Georgie?
Yes, the audience, because some people in the audience are going, oh my god, it's him.
Yeah, which most people would be able to think if they hadn't seen the trailer where that's explicitly shown to be Pennywise.
Exactly. But because it's right at the end, and I was thinking, but George doesn't know he lost an arm, so the only reason he would do this is to fool us. Pennywise is breaking the fourth wall. Stop it! you otherworldly, interdimensional, universal slime beast. Go back to H.P. Lovecraft, or go on back in your flying turtle or something. Whatever the Stephen King universe is on.
He's currently gestating, waiting for the sequel.
Yes.
The way the TV series, the way the book is actually as well, is that it kind of flits back and forth between two timelines.
Yeah.
And they made the decision to separate it out into just two distinct timelines that kind of play linearly, which I believe is much better.
But,
there are reasons why in the novel it goes back and forth, and that's because things are kind of revealed. But I feel like this straight through kind of like, especially a film, it's less kind of jerky and more kind of like a better flow to just go through the story as is.
Yeah, I mean, Red Letter Media in their video they said something I agreed with, and that filming or making a movie like that is just impossible. Really, it'd be a bit too much.
It'd be a headache.
Yeah, you're like, what? Why was no? Just show it linearly. It makes more sense.
And you also end up with a weird break half point, which the TV series has, where basically the miniseries was two chunks.
Yeah,
and,
two parts.
It's way too long to be one movie, so it would have to be two movies. So you would have to arbitrarily kind of like just cut it in the middle.
Yeah, it's a logical point. It's a logical place to do it as well. That part of their lives is done, and now we move into the adulthood.
Yeah,
I'm just curious to see who they cast as the adult versions. I hope they're not shit actors.
What if they just waited 27 years for them to become adults and then cast them again?
I would be so fine with that, but there's no way
that
Hollywood
would be
would
perfect.
do that.
But the problem is then that Pennywise would look different. So
That's true.
mean,
Well, wouldn't he? Over
It's good that
27
Pennywise
years?
is going to look the same.
Oh.
But Skarsgård is just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
I know
I'm
I
an
signed
Oscar-winning
the
actor.
contract, but I just don't want to do it anymore.
No, he's gotten like fat from like alcohol withdrawal.
Right.
He's been waiting in his costume the whole time as well.
Oh, he's had an interesting 27 years.
It's like to make sure that the makeup stayed exactly the same.
Yeah.
He's left it on.
Left it on.
It's like, Bill Skarsgård isn't here right now. Can I take a message?
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, that was it. I
was
enjoyed
good.
it.
I liked
You
it as
both
well.
liked it? Okay.
I thought it was really effective.
Yeah.
I thought that I've seen people say there were a lot of jump scares and the orchestral things were like obnoxiously loud, but the screen I saw it, I didn't get that at all. The music was never too loud in the cinema screen I saw, and I thought a lot of the scares were it was, I think, the better scenes in the movie when it was just like genuinely unsettling, when he was just fucking with them because he enjoyed it. There's one moment where one of the characters, spoilers, breaks his arm when he falls through the floor. And there's this wonderful moment where Pennywise's hand like kind of comes out from behind the fridge, opens the door, and he's kind of all contorted inside as he like kind of like folds out and like flops to the ground, and like his joints will start to click back in place, and it's almost like he's mocking the kid for having a broken arm.
It's got some great imagery in there.
And then he
I think it's a really visually arresting film.
And then like slowly like dances towards him, like almost just fucking with him because he's enjoying it. And then when the kid says, you're not real, he like gets right in his face, he's like, is this real enough for you? I'm like, fuck off. It's good.
Yeah, I don't think I was scared, but I enjoyed the movie. It was really visually nice, and I'm really happy that it's done well, because it will mean, first of all, a resurgence of Stephen King, which I feel like at the moment we're having anyway. So this will just bolster that. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently the adaptation of Gerald's Game on Netflix, which has just come out, is really good. So I'm gonna be watching that soon. We've had The Dark Tower, which sucked, apparently, according to everyone. I haven't watched it.
I haven't heard a single good thing about it.
But last year we had 11/22/63. This year we've had The Mist, which sucked. Oh, by the way, that's not being renewed.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, I talked about it on the cast. I had a love-hate relationship with it. I kind of liked the schlockiness, but at the same time, obviously it didn't do anything, particularly amazing with the license or the IP or whatever.
Yeah. And
And
especially
they sequel baited like hell in the
mistake. It's a big mistake. You can have little inklings for future stuff in your TV series, but never sequel bait too much, because then and then in, like, return viewings, it's just unless you're cancelled and you're not expecting to be cancelled, But
yeah, I mean, there's definitely those situations, but nobody wants to be told a story that ends in to be continued that never actually continues. Like, the only way that actually works is in music videos. Where they do something like, and they ominously end it on to be continued, and they just never make another music video, but it still kind of feels okay anyway, because you just want to hear the song to begin with. Like, that was the point. But with a movie, you just don't want to go to be continued, and they just never continue it because you don't have the budget or whatever. Just don't do that. Even if you just have a bad ending, even if you just like, okay, we can't have enough money for a budget on a sequel, so we're going to have to end our story here. How do we just change what we got to end the story here? Oh, well, and it was like a less interesting movie in the end. Who knows? But on the other hand, you just don't want to do that, because then you just have these people who are like, what? Really?
So what happened?
These guys. Fuck these guys.
It is nice when they say to a show, we are cancelling you, but you've got a season. So instead of finding out after they've kind of wrapped and that they know there's no way they're going to film anything else, they at least get to wrap some things up.
Yeah.
I've been watching The Strain, which finished completely. The entire series is done now, about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And it was okay. It was satisfactory. The ending was a bit kind of lackluster. It peaked a couple of episodes before that, with, like I was telling you guys before, David Bradley's character, Abraham Satrakian. Basically this like 90-year-old vampire hunter who's kind of like every time I see his face, I see the caretaker from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But he's such a badass, and he goes out like a badass. And then there are a couple of episodes where the characters are like, "Oh, I guess we better kind of finish the story then."
We should. We need the order.
better. Yeah, but that's better than not having any kind of resolution at all. So.
Or just having an ending where it's only just beginning.
Yeah, dun 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 dun.
Yeah, get hype.
Oh, you want to see the new season? Well, fuck you, it's cancelled.
One thing I'd learned recently, actually, I've been listening to a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's Autobiography, his audiobook, and the first chapter is actually narrated by Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is the only reason I bought it, because that's just gold.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you would want that to be the case if you're buying that.
Well, yeah,
Fuck yes.
specifically for Arnold Schwarzenegger though, because of his charm and accent and the way he does words and stuff. It's just fun. Unfortunately, the rest of the book is read off by a man named Stephen Lang, and I did a
Stephen
Wikipedia.
Lang?
Yeah, I did a Wikipedia search on him. There's several Stephen Langs with V's, but only one Stephen Lang with a PH, and it's the guy who is in Don't Breathe.
Yes, and he was the party crasher in The Hard Way, starring James Woods and Michael J. Fox, which is a lot of fun.
He was also the bad guy in the Avatar movie from James Cameron.
Yeah, he was the generic, I'm a military guy, so I'm back.
Yeah, I'm military.
that guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm military. I got connections, and man, I can get you a new pair of legs if you just do what I tell you. That guy. He doesn't talk like that in the audiobook. He has a more, narrative kind of voice, and it's nice to listen to, actually. I've sort of enjoyed it after a while. I just really got disappointed after chapter 1, and it wasn't Arnold. But
Because you want it all to be Arnold, like everything. Like, it was such a struggle when I was younger. I came from Austria. You want it to all be like that because it's fucking great.
yeah. But oh shit, what was I going to bring up? Oh shit. What were we talking about before I segued so hard off the topic to something else?
Shit.
We were just wrapping up Stephen King, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, Stephen
Strain.
King, The Mist. Oh, right.
Strain,
Okay, I remember now.
Talking about endings, yeah.
Yeah, in the audiobook where I'm at right now, he's actually talking about Conan, which is my number one favorite movie of all time. So
Conan's great.
that is, I will comfortably say that if God came down and name your number one movie, I would confidently say Conan the Barbarian. Not Conan the Destroyer, Conan the Barbarian.
No, oh God, no.
But the reason I brought up Conan, though, is because Conan was originally written out to be 4 movies, an epic, like Star Wars, that was going to feature Arnold Schwarzenegger all the way through.
Oh, of course, yeah, because at the end it has like, he would then go on to have his own kingdom and be king of his own land, but that is a story for another tale, or something like that, wasn't it?
And then we get Conan the Destroyer, which is like a fanfic starring Arnold Schwarzenegger,
It's so bad.
Yeah, but man, like it's an example of one of those movies where it's like to be continued that doesn't actually pay off at all. But when I heard there was supposed to be 4 movies, and it was supposed to it was going to have a $250,000 budget for the first movie. The second movie was supposed to have 5% of the profits of the first movie and $1 million.
Jesus Christ.
Third movie, $2 million. Fourth movie, $10 million. Can you imagine the alternate reality timeline where that 4-movie series exists?
So badass.
Fucking badass.
That'd be so cool. Because then they just improve with each movie, like visually, hopefully they would improve each time.
I mean, even the
That'd be
practical
really cool.
effects in Conan the Barbarian were still fun. When he fights the snake, it's fighting a rubber snake. But you're just so invested in the movie that you just want to believe it's a real snake. And he fucked that snake up. And it was awesome.
It's all about lighting as well and hiding your effects.
Yeah.
Hiding the shortcomings of your effects. That's why something like John Carpenter's The Thing works so well. The effects are just mind-blowing in that anyway, but because they shot it so smartly, so intelligently, it hides if there are any shortcomings, you can't see them.
Yeah.
That's how you get around your effects, so yeah.
Yeah. It's a master of illusion kind of thing, that's what movies are supposed to be about anyway. So when you have all these CGI things, where the whole mess is an obvious CGI thing, it's not about lighting, it's not about hiding mistakes or whatever, it's just about intelligently paying for someone to make your monster for you and shooting it, as opposed to intelligently making a monster and then paying someone to puppeteer the thing, even if it's the actor, like in the case with Conan the Snake. Conan basically grabs the snake and he's like, and it's awesome, and he's making it struggle with him on
Yeah.
camera, and it looks nice. And eventually he puts the sword right through its head, and it's like, fuck yes.
You took my father's sword.
You are a choir boy compared to me. It's like my favorite line. End of days. He's talking to Lucifer.
Fucking choir boy.
Yeah, you're like a choir boy compared to me. It's like, you can't tell Satan that.
Schwarzenegger's bitch slapping Satan. Get out of here, fuck you. I don't even believe in you.
Right.
I'm an atheist, you fuck.
You're just a person. I'm your god. Anyway, I do love Arnold to death.
He's so good.
I get the feeling I need to watch Conan.
You
the
need to
Barbarian.
watch
should, it's
Conan the
brilliant.
Barbarian.
It's a lot of fun.
You need to stop
Right now.
You cut this
It's a
podcast
really-
off. Let's just put some dead silence for the next hour and a half. And in that time, you watch Conan, then you come back and we continue the podcast.
It's a lot of fun. It's the movie I think of whenever someone brings up 80s sword and sorcery adventure films. It's like it's the film I always just think of.
Oh, okay.
It's really good. It was one of those movies that just had like a lot of imitations, like especially Italian imitations afterwards.
I bet. Those Italians.
Yeah, it's like, hey, that's popular. Let's make 10,000 versions of it. Let's make 100 zombie films.
Let's take the budget they had, divide it by 1,000, and then make 1,000 movies with that budget. One of them will hit big. One of them will be good. They'll just compensate the rest. My number one reason to love Conan the Barbarian so much is because as far as like shooting a movie and creating scenes and creating an environment and a setting, it's so effective. And one of the ways it's so effective is that barely anyone talks or says anything for too much, but when they say something, it's important. But most of the communication is done with facial expression and eyes and hands and actions. Like the part in the beginning when Thulsa Doom kills Conan's mom. He doesn't say a word, and it's like almost like a 10-minute scene. But he's standing there, and it's oh god, who is it? It's Darth Vader's voice.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones, thank you. He's just standing there looking magnificent, surrounded by his army. He just raided this village for no damn reason. And like this beautiful woman, which is Conan's mom, is standing there holding like the family sword or something like that. And Thulsa Doom just looks at her in a way that's like charming, like a snake. Like if you're a snake charmer, just looks at her, and then he just like, does he take her sword? I think, and then cut her head off with it. I think.
I think he might
he
might just kill her. I can't remember. I
pretty
know he
sure
cuts her head off.
Yeah, no, her head definitely comes off.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And the cool thing is, like, they didn't spend time making practical effects on having the head come off. They just had the camera show her from the neck down, so you don't see anything, right? And then it happens because the scene previous was Thulsa swinging the sword, cuts to her basically chest down, and then you see Conan's reaction to seeing his mom's head fall off. So it's like, oh, fuck, and it just feels like, shit, this guy is so powerful. He is so powerful. It just felt so good, and not a word was said the entire scene. Not a word. No. Oh.
Sometimes it doesn't have to. It's like, speaking of actually James Earl Jones, it reminds me of thinking of Star Wars, actually. It's when George Lucas, continued to lose his mind and made even further changes to the original trilogy with the Blu-ray release. So there's that wonderful scene right at the end of Return of the Jedi where we all know what happens, where he saves Luke, he turns good again, betrays the Emperor
Palpatine, yeah.
But there's this great moment, like, you can't see the actor's face because he's got like a mask on, but you don't have to see it because he looks at the Emperor who's electrocuting his son. He looks at his son. He looks at his Emperor again, and you can tell that he's conflicted. You don't have to see his face. He doesn't have to say anything because you can just tell in his body language he's conflicted. He looks at the Emperor and then just hoists him up and throws him. It's like, that's all you need because you know. And then in the fucking re-edit, he stands there and he goes,
I've seen it.
No. What? Don't do that.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
And
then he throws him. You're like, I kind of figured out that he was conflicted, George. It's fine.
Yeah, you didn't need to spell it out for me.
It's like, you don't understand this edge so much.
That's a good impersonation.
I nearly went full Nicolas Cage and it was weird. Nicolas Cage.
But
how to get burned?
If you need any other reason to watch Conan, Tom, if you need any other reason, You can get the DVD,
yeah.
Blu-ray, or the DVD, Blu-ray. They're both the same thing. You can get the Blu-ray release. It came out probably like 10 years ago or whatever. And it's got commentary by the director and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I really like the scene where I
Okay.
punch the camel.
Yeah.
Punch the camel.
Yeah. Wow, I get laid a lot in this movie.
My God, she turned into some kind of creature. It's a good
That
lady.
sounds amazing.
Every
great.
new scene was, this is another fantastic scene. Yeah, look, you can see how I'm doing this and that or whatever. It's just that over and over and over again. It's so good. He's just
he's
so
so much
into
fun to listen
himself. Yeah, fantastic scene, fantastic director.
love-
Yeah.
He's great. I think I look so good here. Like the oil.
Oh, there was one thing you mentioned though, like during that like final battle between Thulsa Doon's minions and him at that fort with he sets all those defenses and stuff, and he says one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Yes, I know what it is as well.
Yeah, of course. It's very only one line in that scene, so of course you know what it is. But during all the stunts and stuff, he did literally hit people with swords. Like some people, like he didn't pull his punches well enough. Some people took actual damage and were actually cut. So it's like,
Wow.
can you imagine working with Arnold Schwarzenegger on that stage? Like, oh fuck, he's got these huge muscles. He's just gonna swing a broadsword at you, and you just gotta hope this time he shows a little restraint.
Arnold, please, I have a family.
Right? Oh man, another movie like that will never be made. I mean, I know they did a remake of Conan, but and maybe Jason Momoa did a great job. I've never seen it. I just can't imagine supplanting the original Conan the Barbarian with anything else. So I just never bothered to see it.
Yeah, I can't. It's just like it's like, you know, when it's that iconic and that good, like what's the point of remaking it? You're never gonna do any better. It was like when they remade RoboCop. Like, why are you bothering?
I know.
Like,
right?
does everyone remember that? Like, no one talks about that because it was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It was forgettable.
Everyone just
It's like
wants to
when
watch
something's
RoboCop, the original,
Yeah.
and never watch the remake. You're not gonna replace the original.
No, and it's just, and it's one of those things because people are like, oh, but maybe it's dated because there's social commentary. I'm like, no, it's not at all.
No, you remember
It's
that
still
scene
that
where
fucked.
dude gets hit by a car and he splatters all over the place? That's why people watch RoboCop.
Exactly. The satire
Or-
is still funny, but the violence is so wonderful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Or what was it, like Ed 209 or whatever that security
Oh
robot's
my
called? He just like
Yeah, Ed
just
209.
fills that guy full of
Jackhammers
lead,
him.
just
And it just keeps going, and all the squibs are exploding, and it has a great moment afterwards where he goes up to the old man and he's like, I'm sorry sir, it's just a glitch, and he's like, you call that a glitch?
Yeah, you didn't have like an
As
off
the guy's
button
being
at
wheeled
all
out.
during any of that? You serious? Fuck you, fuck this thing, dismantle it, get it out of here.
Like, get away, and he's like, and then Albert from Twin Peaks, it's like, I've been working on something called a RoboCop. I just need a dead cop. It's great.
I just need a dead cop. We'll be right back.
Oh look, one died. It's a fun movie, but yeah, it's
I just
some
need a dead
things
cop.
like that. You're like, why bother like even trying? Just re-release the original in cinemas. People are going to see it.
Yeah, people will just go see it. I mean, just fucking Blu-ray the shit out of it or whatever you're gonna do.
Yeah.
And just put it back in theaters for a little while.
like-
Man,
it's
why
like-
don't they really need to start doing that shit? I mean, these indie theaters are doing it, but they're watching the
Exactly.
originals. But if a company really wanted to make money on a product, instead of spending $1 million or not $1 million, hundreds of $1 million on a remake or whatever, just like what you're saying, just fucking take what they got, polish it up. Put it back in the theaters. People would love to relive the memory of going to the
exactly.
theaters to see the thing that they fucking loved 20 years ago.
So what was like the day after? No, the day after my birthday. I went to go and see. It was the day on my birthday actually. I went to go and see Terminator 2 at the cinema because they've obviously started. That's, I think it's still shown in some cinemas in the UK as well. But obviously it's like one of my favourite films growing up as a kid. And when it came out like 91, 92, I was too young to go and see it. So it was the first time I'd ever seen it at the cinema. And it was like a really awesome experience for me. So and there's loads of people that will do that. Like, there's people my age that love stuff like Ghostbusters, Aliens. No, never even got a chance to see it at the cinema because they weren't alive. So
Yeah.
you re-release it, and every time I go and see one of these films where they do like a special screening, it's always packed. It's always absolutely packed.
Yeah.
So It's confusing. I don't know why they do it. Why they don't do it.
It's like this one indie theater I went to go see the original Turtles again, which was one of my number one favorite movies when I was growing up. It's just a great movie, and it's still a good movie. But Conan still beats it. I mean, nothing beats Conan. But when I went to the indie theater, not only of course did they serve pizza, they also had like a menu, like a handmade cocktail that's green, it's supposed to be like mutagen, so you get an alcoholic drink that looks like mutagen or whatever.
That's cool.
And before the movie played, they were handing out Xbox 360 controllers so everyone could play the arcade Turtles game on the 360
so awesome.
on the projector. And what was weird is that you didn't even have to fight for the controller. People were just fine watching. So I actually got to play. I was like, I'll take a controller. If really no one else wants one, fuck it. Here we go. Well, I'll play. Yeah. And it's wireless, so you don't have to worry about how far back you're sitting in the theater. You can just play the game. And I was like, man, this is fucking cool. This is a great little event, They should do more of that stuff. But instead, people want to sacrifice all the money making a new movie on top of whatever already exists. And it's been an hour. I have to segue into it. I'm sorry.
Oh, man, I had my segue ready.
Edit mine out.
I have to let it
put
go.
yours in.
Take it out back and put a barrel between its eyes.
That's what I'm doing afterwards, so it's great.
But
basically, I was gonna sing Elton John with slightly changed lyrics. I was going to wait for you guys to finish talking about RoboCop
I like mine better.
by saying, I guess I should go see RoboCop. And then I was going to come in and go, and it's such a Senua's sacrifice. But,
oh my god. Get out.
Get out.
Right, you need to
get
go in
the
the garden.
fuck out.
So,
Get the
Elton
shotgun,
John, guys.
Get your wife to get the shotgun as well. This looks like two of us are doing today.
But yeah, in case anyone forgot, an hour ago we decided we were going to come here and talk about Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and that was my game pick from last time on the podcast. Mm-hmm. So I should go ahead and introduce what the game is about.
Yeah, why did you choose it first of all?
Well, I didn't. Fuck you, Matt. Yeah, tell us.
Do it. Do it.
When I was playing it, it didn't feel much like a horror game, but at the same time, there was a lot of concepts that they were using that are used in horror games. So I thought perhaps as I continued playing through it, there'd be more horror stuff, and I think I was right. In the end, I think that there was some good stuff in there. If nothing else, it's a good action.
I think it's easily
thing.
coverable under our remit, definitely.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That just justifies everything I was about to say, or that I had already said. For me, though, it was like there's a realistic horror to it in that the game was made with the idea of a character who has mental handicaps, such as voices, such as hallucinations, and such like that. But the thing is, she lived during like medieval times, like she's a Celt, and a legitimate Celt who has a sword and lived in a village and all that kind of stuff, almost like Conan level shit. So in this time period, they don't understand mental disabilities the way we do. They think of it as sort of like having a window into the abyss, or the ability to see gods, or to hear voices from gods, because they already have all these multiple gods doing things like, God of the harvest, God of rain, and so on and so forth. So it's like, to me, it was a very interesting thing, a very interesting topic, and a very interesting setting for three guys like us to talk about, regardless of whether the game was good or bad or whatever. But I ultimately, I felt the game was good, and I look forward to going through it on hard mode someday. Because the combat is it's Devil May Cry-ish, but without any of the style or the flair. It's mainly just rush in, swing your sword. When you see them like take a damage or swing at you, you have a dodge button or you have a block button, and you can counter and parry. So there's some options there. And then they throw varied enemy types at you over time, and it becomes a more interesting game because you have like shield bearers, you have like monstrous axe users, you have club guys who have more like standard armor, so they can take a few more hits and hit you while you're hitting them. And so you have to start like sort of like Batman Arkham Asylum, start piecing together how to take out this puzzle box one piece at a time as you're doing your combat. And I thought that was fun. So I figured I chose it for all the horror related to realistic mental difficulties that people have today. Because it's got to be scary to live with actual voices in your head. Yeah.
I will say that I think it definitely does fit under the under our umbrella, so to speak. But I will say it would have been. I think I'd have liked it more if just thinking about the voices very quickly. I think they should have been less helpful.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, I think like especially in combat, like because the whole thing is, 90% the people that hear voices, they're not aid people. They're types of voices that tell them to do horrible things, or so because then that I think that could have added. I mean, it would have pissed people off probably. But I think it'd be really interesting if you had to just kind of try and shut them out as you're fighting. If they're like, oh, there's something behind you, and you turn around and there's fucking nothing there.
Oh,
You're
man.
like, wait. And you're like, wait, what? Bong! Ow! Fuck! And so the other thing you were fighting just like twats you around the side of the head. Or if more things start kind of like second guess yourself. But again, that's difficult to put into a game, and also knowing what a lot of gamers are like, they'd probably moan about it. It's too hard.
Yeah, or they might be like, the game lies to you. That's not cool.
It's like, it tells me there's something there, and then there's not. Like, why even bother?
Yeah, like, what bad sound design.
I like my games to hold my hand. That bad sound design.
I like my games to hold my hand the way my mom never did.
I kept asking my dad, and he told me to fuck off. Daddy's busy.
Wow.
I don't know why it sounds like that.
I don't know.
Or like you just said, there goes poor sound design. Like, obviously, it's an audio glitch.
Yeah, exactly. I like how I tried to start this off with a bit of a classy look at look at like mental disabilities, and we just turned it into like, let's make fun of nerds.
But we should. No,
should.
Speaking of the mentally handicapped, hardcore gamers. No,
Hardcore gamers.
I'm joking because I probably am one.
Well, hey, if people are listening this long into our podcast, they get the full effect of all of us at this point.
Yeah, that's true. We're all crazy. But no, I think it's a bold subject matter to tackle. It really is, because even though we obviously understand mental illness a lot more, there's still a lot of problems in. Yeah, there is a huge stigma still where people still will go like, oh, there's no such thing as autism, or just saying horrible things. It's just kind of depressing, because like, hey, 2017, and you're like, it's a good thing, it's times like this I'm glad Gene Roddenberry's dead, because I wouldn't want him to see the world the way it is now. He's
Right.
like, I envisioned a future where everyone gets along. Oh, Gene.
Yeah.
Oh, Gene, no.
Like, that's one thing that kind of took me by surprise when I watched the making of after beating the game. They went to actual institutions and spoke with people who were actually being treated for voices and treated for hallucinations and things like that. And like, for them, it was nice to see someone finally putting it out there in a way that's constructive. Yeah. And which is another reason I wanted to bring it to the podcast, because I'm basically doing my part, because it's got to be hard, again, to live with voices in your head and have to be told that those voices don't exist. And I used to think that I'm not saying I had voices in my head, or disclaimer, I don't actually have voices in my head, but often at work, especially when I'm bored, I'll like have mock conversations with people that I will eventually talk to, especially like this podcast. Sometimes I imagine I'm having the podcast and things I might actually say, but it's completely under my control, and I don't hear them, I think them. Exactly. These people literally hear them, and that's a huge difference. It's like what you're listening to me right now, speaking to you into your brain, but there's nobody there, and you're not wearing earbuds, and I'm telling you to go make a sandwich. Go do it. Go make a sandwich with ham and mayonnaise and grape jelly.
I'll be right back. I need to go make a sandwich.
And then somebody's going to be like, well, I don't want to do that. But then I just keep telling you to make the fucking sandwich. And that's your life. That's horrible.
That's going to be fucking... That would... If you weren't mad already, that would drive you mad.
Yeah, you'd have stacks of sandwiches you don't want to eat.
Could you kindly make a sandwich? Ah, no, I've got to do it.
Right? It's a loose or silly way to look at it, but they're people too. And one of the things that came out of I got out of that was one of the guys who was watching the development of the game was like, yeah, that's pretty much what I go through, and I kind of can't wait for the game to come out. I might pick up a copy. It's like, wow. You hear the voices, and then you hear the voices in the game, and it's like, it's like an oral cacophony in your brain, just like trying to figure out which voice to listen to.
His voices get distracted by the game and start arguing with the voices in the game. Shut up! Don't talk to her like that. Shut up and concentrate. I'm sorry, I'm a horrible person.
That's what the voices are saying.
Something like that could be.
The voices are like, sorry, I'm a horrible person.
I'm not real. No, I mean that could be quite. It's probably good for them, you know. So hey, someone's actually made something for me,
Yeah,
something I can really relate to.
I can really relate to.
It's like that's what I fucking go through every day.
Yeah. And I'm just going to bring it back to Arnold for a quick second because of the autobiography I was listening to. He was instrumental in bringing bodybuilding out of like the dark, dingy gyms and corners of Austria and Europe and some areas in America, and actually making it mainstream in a similar way that this game might help people understand mental difficulties. You know, I mean, there's got to be a grassroots I don't want to say uprising. That sounds violent, but you know what I'm saying. Like a resurgence of, or some sort of saturation of this information into the public mindset, so that we can all understand it better. And I just, for that reason alone, I thought the game was worth the $30. And that's the other good thing, is that, like I said before in other podcasts, and probably in the last one, if a game is a AAA title and it's fresh and it's new and it's $30, I'm buying it. That's what I do. I think it's a great thing that they're actually making reasonable retail price video games that you pay for exactly what you get without having to worry about any of that other stuff. I love that stuff. This is also Ninja Theory's first solo adventure video game. Like they've done Enslaved, they did DMC, they did Heavenly Sword, they did some Xbox 360 game that I can't remember. It's a party game, but each one of those were co-produced or co-directed or co-developed, I should say, with other companies like Microsoft, Sony, Capcom, you know, that kind of stuff. So they don't even own the rights to those games. If I really want a DMC sequel, which I do on the record, if anyone who works in Ninja Theory thinks that maybe we shouldn't, I think you should. It's a great game, but
We'll definitely try.
yeah, but they don't own the licenses to any of the games that they've made. This is the first one that they've actually gotten the license for because they made it themselves.
Yeah,
So, but
no, it's good. It's and what I will say is, you know, I mean, it's kind of rushing to my overall thoughts. I didn't overly love the game that much, but I will admit that it's very refreshing that it only cost 30. I think it was £25. I think.
Oh, nice.
25. I think it was something like that. 24, 25. It's refreshing that it cost that much, and I think it's about, is it about 8 hours or so to beat it, something like that.
Like Tom mentioned earlier, my LP was about 8 hours, and that's cut. Yeah. So
exactly, and to consider that it cost like half the price of a full retail game, and it's got, you know, arguably more content than some like fully priced games. Like, for example, notoriously recently is the Order 1889 or 1886 on the PlayStation 4, which you can complete in like 4 or 5 hours. That has no replay value, no collectibles, no anything, no extras to unlock. And considering that costs like 45 to 50 quid, or probably like $60, whatever it is in America.
Yeah, 60.
Considering this is about considering this is about 8 hours, whether I like the game or not, still it's refreshing that it's like, hey, we're going to release it for like half the price of a full retail game, and it's got about just as much, if not more, content.
Yeah, I mean, there are some collectibles. There are things you can find, you know, but it's also there's a hard mode to go through the game again. Exactly. There's permadeath, which I thought was nice because, like, one of my favorite features of the game is that it's easy, but if you fuck up too much, there is an incentive to try harder, and there is a sort of like a passive feeling of, okay, I died last time, that's one less time that I can, you know, die before the game itself starts over and my character is dead because I looked at an article. It basically says you could die around 8 times, which is a generous helping. That's 8 lives to get through the game, and you don't really need all of them, but there are some times when you might get overwhelmed, or you're just not on your game and you keep getting hit and you should be blocking or dodging or whatever, but it keeps you tense for each combat without making the combat too hard to keep you tense, you know? It's like a different kind of mental difficulty as opposed to a physical difficulty, which I thought was a really nice way to expand video games, honestly. Like the whole core idea of video games, because you have all these mechanics that get reused over and over and over again. You have DLC, you have extra lives, you have multiplayer content, you have death matches, you have like all these things that you see repeatedly. But I have never seen a game that gives you like a soft permadeath wall, and they use it in a way that's not like, let's say we're playing Limbo, and Limbo could only allow you to die 8 times, where you have to start the whole fucking game over. Can you fucking imagine? You know? Like, they're not dicks about it. Like, Hellblade played like a game that was meant for me to get through without being like tripped up or unfair platformer style stuff. Like, here's an item you need. You walk over there and you get smashed by the ceiling. It's like, whoa, you should have looked at the little like wall thing over here and pull the switch before you got the thing. But there's one of your deaths. You know, none of that stuff happened.
You mean like, is it Cat Mario that's just like, oh, it's the toughest game ever? No, it's just a dick, and I don't want to play a game like that's just inherently terrible.
Yeah, so like that's another thing. That's another reason I wanted to bring it up in the podcast, because I think it's a unique product that's actually trying to push the medium, not in a different direction, but just sort of like embellish what already exists, add some fresh ideas. And I mean, if you can't tell already, I'm obviously a Ninja Theory fan, but I mean, I can understand that like Heavenly Sword wasn't really a good game. I can understand that Enslaved was, I don't know. Enslaved felt like Jack and Daxter game without any of the fun platforming, you know? And the combat was very simple. Just swing the stick and block sometimes, you know? But Ninja Theory's newest game, Hellblade, it feels like they're finally refining what they've picked up and learned on from all the other developers. And I really look forward to more things that they do, even if it's more $30 games that are more like art pieces with game concepts than actual like full-fledged video games. But yeah, so that's why, I mean, I keep reinforcing why I brought it into the podcast, but those are all of my reasons. I think it's very, very good in those regards.
I will say, you go ahead, Matt.
See, the thing with the permadeath is that I think it's a good idea because you know, if it's a shorter game like this, that's fine because you know, it made me think of games that I grew up playing, like the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, and that where sometimes you just failed and you fucked up and you had to go all the way back to the beginning again, but you knew more and you'd learnt stuff, so you could get through the game quicker and more efficiently. So I was really curious about the permadeath thing, because I thought, you know, in this day and age that's very ballsy because you get a lot of angry people. And all the research I found online is apparently a lot of people are saying that it's just a bluff. That they put it in there to fuck with you.
Maybe. I wouldn't call it a bluff, but I didn't experience it, so.
Because it's, I think it's, and if it is, you know, if it is genuinely a bluff, then it's good because it did, like you said, it puts you on your toes. So even if there is no permadeath, then people are going, I'll be careful.
Yeah.
Well, just in case. Even if you read it like, well, people are saying it's a bluff, but I'll be, you know, I'll be careful because maybe they had a glitch or something. You know?
Yeah,
I don't want to restart it.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to restart the 4 hours of progress you've already made.
Or you know, staring at symbols. How am I going to unlock this door? Oh God, let's go find this fucking rooms again. Which I turn off, but yeah, anyway, but yeah, it's ow ballsy. But what you were gonna say something?
Tom,
before I cut you off. My knee.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, because I didn't actually play the game, I watched it. So although, you know, I was, you know, actively watching it, it was sort of a passive experience. So the one thing that really came across to me, more than say gameplay or, you know, the treatment of the plot and the themes, was the visuals. I thought the visuals were really incredible, and I really liked the way that they did the you know, the various people who talk to Senua are actual real life actors, and it's actual real life footage, but with all kinds of, you know, kind of swooshy effects on it and everything else. I love that effect. I think it's really visually impressive, and I like the design as well. I mean, it kind of, I'm not sure exactly how much it adheres to, how much it adheres to the tropes of like, you know, real life iconography of that time, and whether it's historically accurate. But I wouldn't put it past them, seeing as they put so much effort into researching Celtic mythology, Norse mythology. The fact that it like you said, Chris, the plot was originally inspired by this discovery, you know, in real life of a kind of like a buried woman who was she called Senua? I can't remember. She might have been.
Well, the name was from a god from the Celts named Senuna. Then the guy just wanted to.
Oh yes.
He dropped an N and just made it Senua because he liked how it sounded. That's all it was.
It does sound better. It reads better as well.
Yeah.
But,
Senua.
I like the fact that a lot of it is based in kind of real stuff, and yeah, the visuals were amazing.
Yeah, it looks like like it sucks to live. It looks like it really sucked, which it probably did. It probably sucked to be alive.
Yeah, it was kind of Game of Thronesy in its kind of like harsh reality with kind of like mud and soil and you know, even the beach was kind of that opening area with the bridge, the wooden bridge that you were trying to make your way up to.
Yeah.
It was just great. Yeah, it was good.
It was
good.
great.
It was good stuff.
Great.
It's visually very impressive.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I like about Ninja Theory is that like DMC follows, I mean not follows, but set up a lot of those traits that they create visually. Like a lot of being in Limbo and DMC is a lot like being in combat in Hellblade, where everything's just sort of lively and moving, and it's like, well, okay, combat in Hellblade probably not, but there is definitely scenes in Hellblade where you see like they do particle effects on particle effects, and they sort of like project things and layer things and make things bright and you know, push things out. But actually the brightness, like sometimes when you saw like those runes, for example, that's another thing that people sometimes experience. Seeing things brighter than normal, like because because their brain sort of like translates optically differently, and so you can see like things that just shimmer when the things are not shimmering at all. Another thing that they discovered through the research and all that stuff is that there are people who actually do have problems like opening a door before finding a thing that lets them open the door. And sometimes, yes, that it's like they have to match certain things that make sense in their head before they can progress. Not like I don't want to say like I don't want to double back on that. I mean, like they do literally have problems like living and working in real life without first addressing certain things. Like I can't leave my room before my teddy bear is on my bed. That's just a thing. It has to happen because in my head that's why it has to happen, and it's sort of a mental illness thing. So like there's so many layers of things that people experience that we think are just game mechanics to help the player through the game. But in reality, some people experience some fraction or all of those things simultaneously, and that's their whole life. So one of the things I loved about this game was that, one, there's no HUD. Two, they used smartly their research to help the player understand the world, and also to create puzzles for the player to get through certain areas, like the whole rune thing, which I know you laugh at because it's like, this is an arbitrary puzzle, and I would agree with you, except for the fact that there are people who have issues like that, and Senua is no exception. So
that's true.
I think contextualized, it makes a lot more sense. The problem is you can't watch that making of until after you've played the game,
right.
Otherwise it would be spoiled for you.
Yeah.
So I could totally see what you're saying, but I feel like probably part of that is kind of the hindsight of or going into it knowing that they've given this care and attention to the subject involved. I think the making of was great. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah.
Because it revealed a lot of the stuff that you're talking about.
Obviously, you know, I understand it now. I mean, I will admit straight up, I didn't finish it. I understand the reason for those puzzles, but it got to a point for me when it was just a bit one too many in quick succession, and I just kind of switched off. I was like, I'm done. I got up to, I don't know, it might have been about halfway through. It was when you have to find the 4 fragments of something so you can get that sword. The one that can slay gods. And I went through that. I liked the first little challenge where you had to like go through the weird, creepy maze when you had to follow, like, because you could light the torches. So you're like, okay, well, I've been this way, so if I've been here, then that means I've gone in a circle, so I'll go this way instead. And I liked that. And I was like, cool, what's the next one going to be? And I was walking around for a bit, and then it was solve this door puzzle. And I was like, okay, I found it. Okay. And then it was solve another one, and I just went.
That sounds like the tower. Was it the tower with the 2 masks, the light and dark world stuff?
It might be. I can't remember. But I just kind of switched off at that point. I was like, I can't, because I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. Yeah. Which is a shame because I liked the idea behind it, and I really appreciate I would appreciate what they've tried to do and what they have done and successfully done. But from a purely gameplay standpoint, I just couldn't anymore. It's like I can't. So we played Silent Hill and finished that instead.
That's fine.
So
I felt similarly, especially when like the part you're talking about where you have to assemble Graham and get that sword so you can fight Hela, and because she's a god and you need a sword that kills gods. Graham is a sword that kills gods, and I love how like the lore stones supported the story of Graham, so you can understand why you need to get that sword, even though Senua never once says I need to get this sword for any specific reason. You know, exactly. And it's almost like Druth is telling her the story, and that story is bending her subconscious to make her believe that Graham exists. Then she finds Graham, but she has to understand, like in her head, there's no way you can just get it. So she comes up with like 4 puzzles in her head that must be solved before she picks up the imaginary sword so she can fight the imaginary goddess.
It's great. I mean, I like that because it's almost like, because of the whole thing, she's trying to save her love, isn't she? She's trying to
Dillian,
Dillian,
whose head she keeps at her hip.
It's like, I think he's dead, Senua. You've got his head right there.
It's like a skull too. It's not even like the decomposed head or whatever.
Yeah, because you can see the indentations, like when the bag's like taut. And you're like, I think he's far gone. And it's I think that's okay because. Like story-wise, because it's almost like, because she said, "Oh, Dillian's there, I'm there," and then something else happens. It's almost like because her goal is to find him or save him, but she, like, subconsciously she knows there's no saving him, so it's almost like her brain is trying to
put obstacles in the way.
Yeah, it's like in denial. So it's like, oh, then you have to do this. Oh no, he was so close. I like that from story point, but from gameplay, it's bit difficult to pull off in a game like this as well, and also it was just fucking puzzles.
I think you're getting to my one major criticism of the game, and it's not really a massive criticism, but I do feel like it maybe went on a little bit longer than it should have.
Yes.
I feel like there was we are far into spoiler territory now, so it's fair enough to say that this is a game. Senua's sacrifice is about letting go of Dillian.
Yes.
So it's coming to the conclusion that she can't save him. So I understand that obviously needs to wait until the end of the plot, because otherwise, that's the driving force for her going into, is it Hela or Hell? Whatever
Hell with one L.
Yes.
H-E single hockey stick.
So... I understand that you kind of need to finish with that, but the problem was in the middle. I felt like we were continuing to be mysterious for mysterious' sake, and I think in some ways, metatextually, it's quite a good comment on how exhausting it can be to have to live with conditions like that, because they do not let up, and they are kind of like an onslaught, day in, day out, that you have to war against. So I can totally understand that on that level, but also, like Matt's saying, it's a gameplay thing where, we've been sat here 6 hours and we still have like pretty much no answers in terms of the plot. The plot has not really progressed at all. It's just a case of, we got a little bit here about her mother, or we got a little bit here about her father, but even then, we get all the way to the end before anything. It's not fair to say anything happens, but anything kind of changes or develops. Like the rest of it is just kind of like backstory stuff about gods and what have you, which is all really good stuff.
It's good world building. Yeah, it's good world building.
Yeah,
but it could probably do have been a bit punchier in terms of length.
It's kind of funny, isn't it? Because we're talking about a game that's a budget title, so to get 8 hours out of it for the price is fairly good. But I actually feel like in this instance it could have been just a little bit shorter, and it would have been punchier as a result.
Yeah, a bit more concise, and and I wouldn't have a problem with that. Again, because of the price. If it was 2 to 4 hours, I wouldn't have really had any complaints, because that's a decent length, especially nowadays. It's a decent length for a game that costs that much.
Yeah.
So, not like again, like it's weird, isn't it, that like 90% of a lot of full price games are going, it should be a bit longer because of the price, which to have a bit more content, and instead we've got a title that costs less. We're going, it should be a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Like, I can't win.
Well, I think they developed it well enough in the fact that you can miss all the lore stones. There were more Mother's Faces that I didn't actually find, Tom. I was kind of mad about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like there was one in the tower where all the water is, and those two masks. There's supposed to be one in the surf around that area that I just never found, which is probably why, if you noticed, I was kept looking at the water like, where the fuck? I know it's supposed to be here, but I never found it. They're supposed to, and after you finish an area, the faces are gone, so you can't find them after the fact, which kind of sucks. But like all the skippable stuff kind of makes the game sort of like a 2-hour adventure when you think about it, because you can cut through the cutscenes, you can not go to the lore stones, you can just go straight to Valravn. He's only got like 3 phases before you get to him, you know, because you go into the first area, you get introduced to the fact that you can look through gateways to see the truth of the illusions, and then you just know where they are, so you just run over, go through there, go to the next place, run to the next ones, go to the next place. All of a sudden you're fighting Valravn, you're probably done in 15 minutes in that section, and then you have to go fight Fire Guy, you know, and that's another 15 minutes. I can't remember his name, because even that one is just running through fire, you know. And then after that, you go to Hell, and Hell is only lengthened by the search for Graham. After you fight Hela, get knocked the fuck out, and then, and then you have to find a new sword. And after that, you fight Hela after, like, for real, which I thought that entire experience was fucking awesome. But then I played it. Yeah. But I mean, I got to that part as well. I mean, and it was so visually strong. It felt like actual like torment. Like you're in hell, but it's not fire and brimstone hell. It's just like this weird like nightmarescape where this goddess who is larger than the sky is there, and she's like throwing enemies at you, and you're just trying to rush to her, and it just felt so good to fight that area of the game. But like I said, it could all be done in like probably 2 hours, maybe less. So like the amount of video game content they gave you is relatively perfect, but the other stuff that you would find along the way and the chances of being lost and all that kind of stuff kind of drags it into an 8-hour experience for your first time. So I'm just trying to say, I'm just trying to weigh in the fact that like once you beat the game's actual length is so much shorter that I can't imagine them making the full game casually run shorter and be satisfying.
That's a fair comment, to be honest. And a game like this, there isn't an awful lot of replay. You may play it maybe once or twice more in your life, I would imagine. So yeah, no, it's a fair comment, definitely.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, I think the problem with me as well is that it's like hardwired into me. It's like, there are things to collect, I must collect them all.
Yeah. Well, I like that the lore stones, basically, like you said, world building. It was perfectly good for world building. But if you just don't care, you can walk right by them. They're not save points or checkpoints or in any way mechanically valuable to the game. They're just interesting. And I loved how Druth would tell the stories. He was an excellent storyteller. So, like, the part where he was talking about, like, the creation of the universe and how, like, I can't remember the actual details, but, like something created...
we're, like, inside of a giant's head or something. Yeah. And it's, like, his brains are the clouds or something.
Yeah, his brains are the clouds, his blood are the rivers, his flesh is the mountains, his eyebrows are the mountains, like, that kind of stuff. And Odin, like, yeah, because Odin killed the frost giant and turned the frost giant's corpse into the world, basically. And they also go to the creation of Odin, and there was like I got all like a father beyond that had sort of created a cow. I can't remember the actual story, but he was like, and then he created a cow. Haha! You didn't see that coming, did you? And the cow fed him with milk and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, this is the most batshit, insane, bizarre folklore I've ever heard in my life.
It is a bit crazy. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it for that.
It's so good. Like, I love the story about Loki killing Balder, which Balder's an awesome name, by the way. Like, Balder is, like, one of Odin's sons, but he's, like, the most benevolent and good and lovely person. And Balder's mom was like, well, I can't have anything bad happen to this guy. So instead of like the Achilles heel thing where you like dip Achilles into a pool and keep the heel vulnerable for stupid reasons, in this case, she assembles everything in the world and makes it swear to not hurt Balder. Like wolves, trees, iron, water, air, lightning, every idea, every noun in the planet. Except mistletoe. Mistletoe. Because she thought the mistletoe was too young to make that kind of a swear. So Loki, disguised as a woman, a servant girl, walks up to Balder's mom, whose name I don't remember, and is like, did you really make everything swear not to hurt Balder? And she's like, well, I didn't ask the mistletoe. I thought it was too young. So Loki was like, aha, got it. So he goes and gets some fucking mistletoe, and then he approaches another god who's blind, which is insignificant to the story, but just makes it alarming in a way, or more interesting. Yeah. And he says, why don't you... Oh, sorry, a little bit of a setup. Everyone throws weapons at Balder because it's fun and they won't hurt him. So...
guys, stop it.
Yeah. Oh, come on. Spears, really stop with the spears.
Come on, guys, it's not funny anymore.
And then just have fun trying to kill Balder because he can't fucking kill him because everything swore not to kill him except for mistletoe. So he talks to the blind god and he says, why don't you join in the fun? And he's like, I'm blind. Besides that, I don't have a weapon. And Loki's like, aha, well, I have this dart. You can throw it and I will tell you where Balder is. And the god's like, fuck it. Grabs the mistletoe dart, throws it hard enough to kill a god, and does it. He succeeds in murdering Balder in front of everyone, to his great surprise and disbelief, I'm sure, especially following the fact that he gets viciously murdered for the act of killing Balder. And Loki's just like, I'm so clever, which really gives you some insight in Marvel's character version of Loki. But so after Balder dies, he goes to Hell, because that's where everyone goes. That's the afterlife. And although Hell is ruled by Hela, Loki's daughter, the other gods are like, yo, Hela, can we have Balder back, please? Everyone loves him. And Hela's like, everyone? Really? I don't believe you. But if you can find everyone in the world and have them tell me that they love Balder, then I will release him. So they're like, sure, no problem. They go everywhere, have everyone swear that they love Balder, except for this giantess in a cave alone somewhere, who's like, Balder was never my friend. And because of that, bitch, Hela didn't release Balder back into existence, so Balder is dead forever. And it was understood somehow that Loki disguised himself as the giantess and said that so that Balder can't come back. Of course, that treacherous bastard.
Bastard.
I missed a runestone somewhere between here and the aftermath, but what I gleaned from it was that because they don't like Loki anymore for what they did to the good old Balder, they killed his sons, fed his entrails, some of them, to wolves, used some of the entrails to string up Loki, and then they poisoned him, I think, with something. Like, they hold him down and they poison him to death or something. And he, suffers a lot, and then he eventually dies, and that's the ending of the story.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful story. Wonderful tale. There's so many holes. There's so many things that didn't have to happen. Like, everyone loves Balder, but they kept throwing weapons at him.
It's like, guys, maybe we shouldn't do this. He's fine. Oh, fuck, he's dead.
Yeah. Who threw that? Let's murder him for the thing that we were all doing.
Guys, I think we made a huge mistake.
Yeah. So, like, I think Hellblade, if nothing else, is as a sort of a landmark in Norse mythology, or just a fun entryway into Norse mythology, is good for that. Like, you can just play the game and enjoy some of these stories by Druth. I thought
That's
they were
true.
Great. I didn't even realize that the lore stones needed to all be collected by the end of the game, or that I had missed any because of the rune circle, that some of them turn white or some of them are red if you haven't found them yet. And I was really disappointed when I realized I missed like 5 of them by the end of the game. And I was like, oh man, no wonder I never got the full story about what happened to the Graham sword or to other Fafnir or whatever. All these other names I can't remember.
To Derek.
Derek.
What happened to Derek?
Lord of Biscuits.
That's a bitching position. Like, I bring you biscuits. You are the best god.
Hands down, 10 out of 10. Best god, wood god again.
I hear you have a cup of tea without a biscuit. Oh, Derek, thank you. Praise be to Derek. Oh, shucks, it's fine.
Praise be
Give me
to
some money.
Derek.
No,
So, But yeah, I noticed we skipped over the most of the plot and story and stuff like that. But I realized last time when we were talking about, what's it called? Oh my god, zombie game, Frank West.
Dead Rising.
Dead
Dead
Rising.
Rising, thank you. Is that like games are way longer than movies, so like going
Yeah.
scene for scene with plots for 8 hours isn't a good way to spend a podcast. So I just jumped straight into all the spoiler territory. Anyway,
Yeah, I've found that as well. And I mean, obviously I haven't produced any of it yet, but when I've written some scripts for stuff like Dino Crisis, some of the Resident Evil games. Resident Evil Gun Survivor is one of them, which I intend to get around to actually creating at some point. But it like with older games, I think that's why a lot of people do like NES games and Super Nintendo and Mega Drive games and stuff like that, because they're inherently shorter. But anything that's got any real length to it, like 6 to even 4 to 6 hours, it is really difficult to really compact it all into under 20 minutes without going, and then you go here, and then you go to this location, and you do this, and then this happens. You just have to try and give it some kind of like synopsis.
right.
Basically, they want to do this. The end, yay! Game's kind of cool.
So
subscribe.
subscribe. Click the
subscribe to me
fucking
on
bell.
Tumblr.
Smash that
Buy
like
my
button.
t-shirt.
Buy my
Splash it.
t-shirt. Yeah.
Headbutt that like button.
Oh man, but yeah.
Stroke the like button.
Still, like, I mean, when the game starts, you're basically rowing into what's supposed to be hell, I guess, but it's all mud and
looks
trees.
like it.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be hell to live there, but HE single hockey stick, and then you end up just going on a journey where you're told to go kill Valravan, the Master of Illusion, and like, what was his name? Scorch, something like that. I can't remember.
It's not Scorn, is it? No, Score? It might be Score? I'm not
It
sure.
might be score, yeah. It might be like a high score. And this was cool because, right? When you go to like this sort of hub area where you kill a few guys, and then you're introduced to permadeath by being killed by things you simply cannot kill, those shadow guys, which you could kill if you could focus, but you can't focus yet. And then they show that rot growing on your arm. Shows like sort of like a status, a progress of how many more times you could die before you die, because once it reaches your brain, then you're absolutely dead and you have to start the whole game over. But like after that, it's like you can turn around and you can choose your boss. I was like, cool. I thought that I kill one boss, then kill the other boss, go through this third door here, fight Hela, end of game.
I was thinking that actually.
Yeah, it felt right. For a $30 game, I was like, yeah, maybe these two worlds are long enough and interesting enough that it'll carry enough content over to the last boss, and then I fight the last boss, and that'll just be that. It'll be fine,
Yeah, be a fun little romp
Fun little romp.
into
Hard
mental, into psychotic tendencies.
Yeah, you thought, like,
Fun little
the
romp.
world is just a nice place, but there's some people who are just born into torment.
Yeah. And we
So-
set fire to your mum, Senua. Oh, thanks. Great, cheers. We set a fire to her in front of you. It's fine. She'll be fine. She doesn't sound fine.
Yeah. Like, that was
like
actually
she's
one of the better parts, I thought, because of, not that her burning alive, that's not good ever, unless you're trying to create
favorite
soap,
part.
apparently, according to Fight Club. But the fact that Senua's mom favored the visions, and it was seen as something like holy or spiritual that only she had, and she was happy that her daughter had the same things, And it was nice, and she was like, I'll guide you, and I'll be that voice of reason for you to understand the madness that you have been born into. And her father, whose name I can't remember, was a druid, and believed that she was possessed and needed to be purified. And of course, the number one way to purify in those times was fire. Just lots and lots of fire.
I mean, it's the nicest. It's definitely the
Sweet,
nicest way to go.
purifying fire.
Yeah.
God knows I want to feel myself boiling from the inside.
Yeah. It's such a great
It's a fun way to
feeling.
go.
You'll feel
It's
all
nice.
of the spirits leaving your body as a form of steam when all of the water leaves your
Yeah.
body as well.
You're like, literally burn all those calories off.
Like, honey, you look good, but wait till you see what you look like when you're dead. Oh, you'll be
Yeah,
smashing.
You just wait. If you think you look thin now, you just wait until your muscle and your skin is like fused to your bones.
Yeah, 0%.
You look
body
shrink wrapped.
fat. But yeah, and then over time, of course, Senua's dad is like, "Look, this shit's crazy. You guys are all possessed. I'm gonna purify your mom." Burns her alive, and Senua's like, "Oh shit!" And he's like, "You're next. If we can't get you right with gods, then you're gonna be next." Which she just had to live with. So she had to endure all the rituals and all those things, and probably hide as much information as possible so that her dad didn't burn her alive. You know, I mean, it's just such a crazy way to imagine that could have been someone's life, and probably was.
Yeah, probably. Well, you look at the witch trials that all those years ago, and just it's like, no, it's fine. What we'll do is we'll throw her in the lake. If she floats, well, then she's a witch, and it's witchcraft, and she's guilty. If she sinks and drowns, then she was innocent. Like, sorry, what? So
you
what,
first.
it's like, so what's the positive
So the
for me?
best case scenario is that I die.
Yeah, it's like,
The worst case scenario is that I die.
it's like I survive for a bit longer, and then you set fire to me.
Yeah, it's just
Man,
Oh, it's stupid. The human race is stupid.
yeah.
It's,
Well,
we're different burner.
We're still trying to figure shit out. That's all it is. And this is a step forward. This game is a step forward in figuring shit out. If they had this game out in Senua's time, then maybe Senua wouldn't have to go through the shit that she went through.
I don't know how you'd. Maybe like what? It'd be like one of those like light puppet shows that they do, like fire, and they'd have like the shadows, and it's like push rock B, and this will happen. You're like, oh, push rock B to make decision. It'd be like playing a Telltale game.
Rock B.
nice.
Grog smash rock B harder. No,
Yeah.
Grog, that doesn't make a difference. Grog smash it even harder. Grog throw rock B. Rock B, stupid.
This game's too hard.
Like, fuck's sake, Grog, you're ruining everything. I'm going back to the future.
I'm going back to the future. I think I did enough damage back here. But yeah, so the basic plot line, of course, is that Senua is on a trip to try to save Dillion, her husband of sorts. I don't know if they had marriages or whatever back then, who died in a raid by Vikings, who we glorify nowadays. You know,
Yes.
we
For some
glorify the
reason,
shit
they
out of that. We love
even though-
people who kill innocent people and raid innocent villages and stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's like, so Vikings were like really badass. Like, they had honor, like killing children and raping women.
Yeah, those
Wow,
are the best.
It's like, wait, what? That's not. But no, they're fine. They're cool because they had horns and shit.
Those were the best days of my life.
Right?
I like Vikings. I feel badass. Like, they were psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, they were psychotic. Like, there's nothing scary than an enemy that's not afraid to die. If anything,
Yeah.
they wanted you to kill them. It's like, it's fine, I'll die Warrior's Death and go to Valhalla. That's scary.
Yeah, and then we get to
They get
fucking
short
kill
answers.
and eat and drink all for eternity until Ragnarok. So that sounds great. Let me just get an express ticket to that by burnering as many people as I can.
Yeah, how do you fight someone like that? That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you LARP, you know what it's like to sword fight on some level. Can you imagine?
Exactly.
I want to give some credit to Norse mythology for having possibly the best name for like a pay-per-view event ever, like Ragnarok.
Coming this Sunday! The end of the millennium. Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And all that really
It's just,
shit
it
echo
is
effects.
literally like, you know, the final kind of like bout.
Yeah, it really is quite literally the final battle.
It literally is.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can just imagine that. Tickets will not be refunded.
But yeah, so Senua is basically trying to resurrect her husband, Dillion, whose head she keeps at her hip, which is more like a skull at this point. She also has a mirror, an iron mirror that her friend Druth gave her. And Druth is like a wild man who lives out in the wilderness that she met when she was on pilgrimage trying to purge her own darkness, which is what she started calling her voices and her mental handicaps and that kind of stuff. Which, of course, doesn't work because her brain is alive and her brain is broken. And it's just going to keep fucking with her for all time. So she ends up, like, conjuring up these ideas of a golden bridge and going to hell and fighting Hela, or not fighting Hela, but trying to bargain with Hela with anything just to bring Dillion back, which really squares in on the idea of Senua's sacrifice. And I kind of felt like when we got to the point where she's like looking at Hela and going to fight Hela or whatever, that it would just be like, kill me, bring Dillion back, and then I'll just stay in hell forever, and Dillion will be alive, and that will be the end of the game. Again, I was like, I thought I figured all this shit out well in advance. I was just waiting to see the end at the point where I was at. But I really enjoyed instead what ended up happening, because the game doesn't really give you a lot of lead into her mental illnesses. Like, you hear about this because of articles and reviews and all that kind of stuff on the outside and on websites and stuff like that. But when you play the game, mental illness is never mentioned.
No.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically on an adventure, and you're like behind Senua, whether you want it or not, or unless you just stop playing the game. But just to see the game through, to see her journey come to its end. And then when you get to the end of the journey, like, she goes and she talks to Hela, who looked awesome. Like, I'm not saying like she looked legit to the Thorth material. I'm saying that I don't know concept of what Hela looks like, but I like the concept that they produced. Like the half-rotten body thing, that was really fucking awesome. And the fact that Hela never said a word, just infinitely judging, infinitely like godlike level of just composure, just nothing fazed her, you know, that kind of thing. It felt really cool just to be introduced to this concept, which is one of the things I like about Ninja Theory games. I almost said Hellblade games, but really it's the same thing right now. But yeah, so she gets up to Hela eventually, and she's like, yo, Dillion? Yes, no? And she
Please? Yes, no, please?
Please, Hela?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. And I love what she offered, which was basically, you want my soul, don't you? And when Hela said nothing, she's like, I'll be your soldier, I'll fight for you in Ragnarok. And Hela said nothing. And I was just like getting chills when I was watching this, like, holy shit. Hela does not give a fuck.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, you fucking talk to me.
Yeah, how dare you get this close to me? It's like that meme I like so much of Ganondorf from Twilight Princess, where it's like, people come up and ask me the same thing all the time, and I respond all the time with the same thing. How dare you speak to me? So awesome. But Hela, you know, produced that sort of like charisma and stuff, and she was, you know, eventually Senua just sort of breaks down and, like, you know, produces Dillion's head, like, you know, you have him, I need him, blah 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 blah. And that's when the game makes the actual shift from like fantasy to reality, and she realizes that Dillion's gone. She made this shit up, and she lets go of Dillion's corpse head into the river. You know,
well, don't you have to like you have to genuinely give up as well, don't you? You just have to.
Yeah.
'Cause they're like, look, just stop fighting. Stop, you're fighting it. Stop it.
Yeah, just before you get to Hela, you have like an endless gauntlet of Northmen to fight through, and they just keep respawning. Every time I'd kill like 10 of them, it felt like 10 just came back immediately, and I just never killed anyone. It was a really intense fight. I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Chris was doing a real good job.
I was sweeping them all up, man, because I was just nailing that focus and just kept and it was so perfectly like manufactured for a casual playthrough, because you get hit and you nearly die all the time, so you just mash X and get back up. So you're constantly fighting. It feels like you're fighting with the game. You're fighting with the controller. You're fighting against these Northmen, and you're just trying to pay attention and block all these attacks. But you have these heavy hitters with giant axes. You have club users. You have shield users. You can't just hit normally, and it just felt awesome. And like halfway through, I started realizing I'm supposed to give up. Yeah. And I'm like, I never give up. I will fight till the last hit point. I'm going to drag this out for an hour if I have to. I will find the end of this thing. But of course, eventually I take too much damage and the game ends, because, you know, you get beaten and then Hela walks up to you and you have that exchange. But I was actually wrong about the throwing Dillion's head into the water thing. Hela actually picks up the head when Senua sort of like, I think she kind of dies or she curls up or whatever. Hela picks up the head, turns around, and walks with it, looking at it like whatever. And then you see like a camera transition where you see Senua is Hela, and Hela is Senua when she finally realizes that she's the one in control of the whole situation. But even her, as the god of her own mind, can't bring Dillion back. You know.
Well, because I saw that, you know, the gauntlet you fight on the way to Hela, because Hela just keeps like moving away from you.
Oh yeah.
Breaks like the bridge up, like she like screams. I think that's like the only thing she like kind of screams at you, and it like breaks the bridge up. And you know, I kind of saw that as well as almost signifying it's like her brain saying, "No, stop it, stop it."
Yeah.
So that one part of her brain going, "Just fucking stop.
Yeah.
Let it go. You know you can't do this. It's impossible. Stop it. You can't bring him back. You have to accept this." And then she finally does. And that's why then Hela obviously pans back around again, and Hela is, you know, where Hela was is now Senua, because she's like kind of fought with herself. She's basically fighting with herself the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that she, you know, the only way to the thing I liked was that she doesn't defeat the darkness within her or her condition. She just embraces it and learns to live with it. So the whole end is about her kind of like facing herself and what she is and what problems she has, and embracing them and realizing, like you said, she is the kind of the god of her own mind.
Yeah.
And she has the power not to bring him back, but to let him go.
Yeah.
Which was really kind of poignant. And I really enjoyed the ending. And then the little bit afterwards where she's standing on a hill and she gets some voices again in her head. And although they're not particularly kind of like negative or anything, but I liked the fact that when she finally embraced herself and she kind of got over Dillion and managed to let him go, that didn't mean that she had got rid of everything wrong with her.
Right.
Yeah.
I felt that was really important, especially the way they're kind of treating these kind of disorders very carefully, and making sure that they don't, what's the word, do them like a disservice.
Yeah.
So in making... if she had got to the end and she'd vanquished it and then she was fine and there was nothing wrong with her, that would have kind of belittled everything that people kind of go through, because there is no defeating this forever.
Yeah.
It's the same no matter what the condition, from OCD to alcoholism to anything.
Yeah.
It's always going to be a battle. So, but the fact that, you know, in embracing that part of herself, she can maybe deal with it a bit better.
Exactly. It's like,
and maybe not have to go to the underworld.
So it'd be a less intelligent game if it was, oh, I came to terms and accepted things. My madness is cured.
Yeah.
Happy ending. Credits roll.
Yeah.
She will become a ruler of her own kingdom, but that is a story for another time.
Conan!
Senua's 10-step program.
Yeah, can you imagine what it'd be like if that's how the ending was, and like you just didn't understand that mental disabilities sort of persist forever, and then you like meet somebody who's experiencing them, and you're like, all you have to do is defeat your own darkness.
You just have to actually speak. That's one thing I want to get to. Mentioning the darkness, I would love to go back and go through the dialogue and just do a tally of how many times the word darkness is used. Because it felt like they said it every other sentence. The darkness, 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 darkness. Just do like a supercut of every time they say darkness. That's my next product.
That might actually be fun to do. Just a supercut of the word darkness. How many minutes can you squeeze out of that? You know?
Oh my god, it goes on for an hour.
As much as I love the game and its expression and all that stuff, I'm right on board with that. I got sick of hearing about the darkness, because I don't like when people like just sort of put negative things like mental disabilities or whatever and just lump it in as the darkness. Like, this is the evil inside you. You just have to push it out of your body. And then you have Dark Link and Good Link, you know?
It's like, stop talking about darkness so much. This isn't fucking Kingdom Hearts.
But I allow it because that's how she would understand it. You know,
exactly.
If she spoke English.
Yeah, she spoke like perfect English. Oh yes, I speak very eloquently. For some reason, even though I'm a for some strange reason, I got a dictionary.
One other thing I actually really like, and it has nothing really to do with the game itself, but the game's construction, and not even really directly the construction, is that the lady who mocapped Senua is just someone who worked at Ninja Theory as a video editor, and I was like, yeah, video editor, and she was just like testing the equipment, and they felt like that was good enough as an audition that she should just do the whole thing. I was like, that's so cool.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
What the one thing about that it really bugged me is she really looks like someone I LARP with.
Oh
wow.
She looks like someone I know, and because my girlfriend was playing it with me, and she was Kitty was the one that mentioned it first. She just turned and said, "That looks a lot like Rachel." It's like, it does, doesn't it? And then from then on, I was like, "Stop it, Rachel! You're not crazy. We're here for you." It's like, that really does it. It was just like, it was really distracting for a while. I was like, every time, like, no, she doesn't, and then she'd do one thing like, "Fuck, that really looks like her." It's like,
Wow.
Didn't help because Rachel's got red hair as well. Like, it's crazy.
Like, that's one thing. I kind of wish they just gave her short hair instead of the long braids. Though I imagine the braids were probably Celtic influenced or whatever. Yeah. But there were several times when those braids would just clip through her body. And I'm like, come on,
and
guys.
Also, there's that the nitpicky part of me going, long hair and particularly braids they're not really, what's the word I'm looking for? A good idea, not really a good idea for when you're entering combat. Yeah. That's like that's giving your enemy a target. Like, the hair, perfect. I will go for the hair. No, you've deceived me. I don't know. My brain's unraveling. Candles.
You need to fight the darkness, man.
Darkness.
Look around your room for some runes and put them together to unlock the rest of your brain.
Sweet. I'll unlock my full potential.
Yeah, I saw this in a video game once. It's got to be true.
It's got to be true. But Matt, that was a game that was all about mental illness. Shut up! The runes are talking.
The runes are gonna make me a grape jelly peanut butter sandwich or something. I don't know. It's so stupid sometimes. I need to see my own runes.
Could you kindly see your runes? Oh no! Bioshock. I love Bioshock.
I still need to play through that. I actually kind of want to use Bioshock on our podcast someday because I think it's horror enough, and it would give me a reason to play some Bioshock because I've owned all 3 games, and the third one I've owned 3 times. I haven't stepped 1 foot in any of the Bioshock games, but Steam sales are very persuasive.
They are.
I recently picked up the HD collection, but I've played them all before.
Oh, okay.
I do think the first one in particular is the one that would best work for the podcast. I think it's got the best in terms of horror themes, especially with the story, the fact that you get there and it's all gone to shit anyway, and it's quite horrifying in places because all these people have essentially lost their mind due to splicing.
Yeah.
So, which is directly in the game, so I think that could work. But I think that'd be a good one for the future.
Yeah, it's on my radar. It's on my list.
Oh, definitely. So maybe not the next choice, but maybe a few more podcasts down the line. That's something we could look at because it gives me an excuse to play it again. I've been looking for an excuse.
I've installed the disc, but I haven't played it yet, so I'd love to play it again.
Oh, definitely. It's been a while since I played it. I do remember just going on this brief tangent. I remember when it was finally released for PS3. This is when we were at university. So our first year at university, and it was released on PS3, and I didn't have an Xbox 360 at the time. So I was like, perfect, because I
really, who would?
And I saw
I timidly put my hand up. I had an Xbox 360.
I had one eventually because Alan Wake came out, and I needed an Xbox 360 for that shit.
Alan Wake is so good, so good.
That's something I think we need to fix at some point as well. But anyway, so I remember Bioshock came out and I ordered it. Cause I just had some money come in, and I was like, "Cool, I've got some money left over. I'll buy a game." So I bought Bioshock, and it was funny because it arrived, and one of my flatmates was like, "Huh." 2 seconds, he walked out. He came back in. He had he had his Xbox 360 version, and he just held up the cover, the box art to me, and said, "Tell me what's wrong with this." It's like, exclusive to Xbox 360. Only on Xbox 360 or something like that.
Yep.
Oh no. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
They lied. But,
Back then, the Xbox 360 definitely had all those exclusives But that was Microsoft, I think, doing some fine ass marketing on their part. They knew what they needed to do to drive up sales and why people would buy a Microsoft Xbox 360 over the superior hardware and features of the PlayStation 3. You just get those games on there. You get your Mass Effect, you get your Alan Wake, you get your BioShock, you get your Halo, and Gears of War, and so on and so forth. And that worked out pretty good for them in that time. But it's not really working out so much for the Xbox One, I don't think.
It's really not. With the Xbox One, because I have a PS4 and Xbox One and a Nintendo Switch, and when it comes to the Xbox One, moreover, I'm looking at games going, I guess I'll get it for the Xbox One because then it gives me an excuse to use the console. Because I haven't heard anything. There's been no announcements for Gears of War 5. There's been no real exclusives announced that I'm really all that interested in. I want to get Cuphead. I know Cuphead's on PC as well.
I'm going to pick up Cuphead soon.
Apparently that's even though it's I think £12, probably about $16 or something.
That's a heavy cup.
Oh boo! Apparently, it's quite cheap, but it's got about 15 hours of content. 15 hours if you don't try and do everything,
or 100 if you're just really bad at it.
Yeah, or 100. But yeah, unlike the regular difficulty, you can complete in 15 hours. And for a game, we're talking about game length and pricing. For a game of that price, that's remarkable. For that much content. Again, you're looking back at the order 1886.
It just looks beautiful.
It does look gorgeous.
It looks amazing.
That's why it took them so long to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's all hand drawn.
It's worth it.
I do like the art design, and I like the fact they went with jazz as a soundtrack. I would play it for the soundtrack. It seems like a thing that I would really get involved with for that reason alone.
Because jazz is fucking awesome.
Yeah. But before we continue on many more tangents, I just wanted to go ahead and say I feel like we've covered enough of Hellblade that if anyone's interested in it, they have more than enough reason to go research it themselves, buy it themselves, play it themselves, tell their friends about it, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and close the conversation on that so we can move on with, whatever we're going to be doing next time.
I mean, I think that's fair, because I think it's something that it's worth playing, even if I didn't finish it because I wasn't a huge fan of the game itself. I like the themes. I like the fact that it's tried to it's tackled mental illness, well, because considering, when you look at most games, it's done a very good job. It's actually tried to take it rather seriously and not insult people.
Yeah.
Not just go, she's crazy, burn the village, which is what a lot of games go with. A lot of them do, the voices are telling me to kill again, they mock it almost.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I kind of respect that they obviously cared a lot. There was a lot of love went into it. I don't think it was a great game. I disagree with a lot of the review scores it got, people giving it perfect 10s and 9s. I'm it's not. Just because a game has a good message and it has interesting themes like that doesn't mean it should get a high score because of that. It's about the complete game. I think a 6 or a 7 is more about, because there's be serious, Tom mentioned Angry Joe. Angry Joe, when he gives something a 6, it's not a bad score. It means it's average, it's good. Too many people think a game comes out and they go, how could you give it a 7? It should be an 8. 7's not a bad score. That's way above average. 7's a good score. So I think it's worth playing part of at least, just so you can experience parts of it, because it's and the sound design's very good.
As much as I like Jim Sterling as a sort of commentator in the industry, he's been pissing me off recently with some of his review scores, because initially he gave Hellblade something like a 3 out of 10 because he had some kind of glitch. Apparently, the bit where you're supposed to grab the torch.
Yeah.
If you checkpoint past it, you can kind of get yourself screwed into a place where you can't move on. Apparently, that's been patched out already.
Yeah, they got patched out the day of. The next day I heard about that, I got a patch.
They were shit. Yeah, because I didn't have that. They obviously saw him and went, oh fuck. And again, give him credit, they did that immediately.
Yeah.
He's now rectified his score to a 7 out of 10, which is the same score he gave Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Now, in my head, to be fair, I only watched someone play Hellblade. I didn't play it myself. But to me, I don't know. It comes back to the problem with scores in the first place. is that they're two very different games. So, to judge them kind of like against each other is unfair. But at the same time, he's given them both 7 out of 10. So I kind of have to, because that's what he's done.
He's a weird one. He really
to
is.
me, it doesn't seem if you're gonna say Breath of the Wild is a 7 out of 10 game, Hellblade is not a 7 out of 10 game in like comparison.
No,
it's more like a 5.
Yeah, somewhere on there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
He's a strange one. Like I like him because he hates microtransactions and he keeps going on about, and I love that because I absolutely agree with him. If you've paid full price for a game, do not put microtransactions in it. Fuck you, because they prey on people that have weakness in terms of gambling addiction and what's the word for, like not compulsive, it's addictive personality. That's not fair. And I've paid a lot of money for this. Don't beg me for more money. But at the same time, he can just be a bit strange in terms. He can be a bit not childish, but a bit pretentious at times.
He's very contrarian as well.
Yeah.
He says that he isn't, but he is.
Yeah, and I'm like, he comes out with stuff. I'm like, really? Like, you hated this, and then you're liking this that's kind of similar and like the same thing. Oh, you're confusing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really well. Like, he loved. He was like, what was that game that came out? I fucking played it all the way through. Horizon. Like, he was like, Horizon's one of the best games of the year. Oh, I'm like, it's okay. Like, in his review, he made it sound like it was like a sandbox game, and the sandbox so much different, and it just does it well, and it's all fun. I'm like, it's serviceable. It's a guerrilla game, so it looks pretty and it plays well, but it's not like a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 game. Jesus Christ! Like, and he was, like hating on Breath of the Wild, and which I wasn't a huge fan of. But yeah, he's weird. He tries to, I think, purposely get a reaction out of people like that.
I think so.
Yeah. More so lately than the past few years. Like, he just seems like he does it to get a rise because he knows.
Since he went independent, it seems that I get the feeling he has to stoke the fires a bit sometimes to.
Like he'll be like just purposely, because Nintendo fanboys are very easy to annoy. But he does do it on purpose. It's like, can you just do the stuff that made me like you without being a dick?
But it's good for business to just make people mad, like we learned with Pontypool. You piss off this guy, that pissed off guy tells his brother, that brother gets pissed off, so that pissed off brother tells their friends, and so on and so forth, and it drives up viewership. Plain and simple.
I fucking love Pontypool.
I really love how it works. Yeah, Pontypool.
So basically,
fantastic
we need to start
recommendation.
hating our audience.
Yeah, you're dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially you.
Go tell someone how much of a dick we were to you.
You. I know you're listening, right? I know
you in the red shirt.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. We're wrapping up, but close your porn tabs. All right. Search for it afterwards, because I think it's creepy and a bit weird that you're searching porn while we're talking. All right.
It is.
So,
you left the podcast on.
Yeah.
You decided to, but you really should have paused us, to be honest.
I know we're wrapping up, but this is us. And you know what we're like, and just because we're wrapping up doesn't mean we can't go on for another hour.
True.
So
yeah,
strap yourself in,
just hit
bitch.
2 hours. Like, whoever's watching this can clearly see that the bar has got time to go.
Just like, maybe sometimes we should just put like just dead air a few times just to really fuck them. Like, oh my god, it's how long? Oh, it's over in like an hour. My god, there's so much content. Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys. But yeah, I suppose we should really wrap up.
But who's next?
Did you wanna? It's me.
Yes,
it is me.
Me.
So I was
sorry.
Me.
You said it was like me, and I was like, Hook is my other favorite movie of all time. Smee. Smee. First Mate Smee. Captain Hook. Peter Pan.
Oh, Hook. Oh, yeah.
Okay, shit, son. I was about to have to slap you through the mic.
It's been a long time.
We've already established I haven't seen Hook. So.
If I actually had the power,
or RoboCop,
I would hand you my copy
Conan.
through the mic. Like,
we should do that for our Christmas special.
Yeah, it's Christmassy. It's not as good a Christmas movie as Die Hard, but it's close.
It's true. Nothing's as good a Christmas movie as Die Hard. Nothing encompasses the Christmas spirit as much as Die Hard.
Yeah, I love that shit.
It's set at Christmas as a Christmas jumper. It's fine. So I was trying to make a decision.
Ho.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho.
I love that
ho.
delivery.
Yeah.
Versace. I have 2 myself. Is it 2? I've forgotten about how many number it is, but yeah, you know it's Alan Rickman, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'll cut your heart out with a spoon. Different movie, but it's still a great performance.
Very memorable line. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was I had about 3 things I was thinking of. I was like, thinking of going for an indie horror film. I was like, maybe. And I was thinking of Silent Hill because I just recently finished it with my girlfriend. Because we're playing through all of them. We started 2 straight afterwards actually, and the graphics. I still think graphically 2 is fantastic, especially for its time because it was
Absolutely.
came out what 3 months after the launch of the PS2. It was that Christmas it came out when the PS2 was launched over here anyway. Because I remember getting my PS2 and then a couple of days later getting Silent Hill 2. I'm certain of it. I might remember it one. Who knows? I'm old. But
for the longest time.
Yeah, but so I was thinking Silent Hill. I was like, we just did a game, so let's move on to a film. I was thinking, let's
keep doing games. I'm fine with games. I'm a game guy.
We could do, but I thought, fuck it, let's go pure trash.
Of course you did.
I thought I've been threatening to do this for ages. Let's go to that wonderful country that has the wonderful fucking exploitation cinema of. Let's go to Italy! Yay! Let's go to the. Yes. Let's go to the to a film I've wanted to rewatch for quite some time. Let's go to the world of Lucio Fulci. I thought, let's watch.
None of us are excited. You're like building this up, but no one's excited.
I know. This I thought we'll watch Lucio Fulci's infamous zombie flesh eaters. Well,
okay, could you recap what that's called for Chris?
It's called Zombie Flesh Eaters over here, and it's called Zombie in the States.
That's zombie minus the E, right?
No, that's in Italy.
MBI?
In Italy, it's without the E, but in Italy, it's called Zombie 2.
Amazing.
Because it's an Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead, which was called Zombie in Italy. Because Italy, around that time, liked to make unofficial sequels to popular movies. So we have Bruno Mattei's Terminator 2, which is a remake / rip-off of Aliens. But
if you could turn to your flowcharts, figure 4,
then
we'll show you which copy you have to find.
But I don't know if it's on any streaming service in America. I don't know if it is over here, but I think it might be on YouTube because I don't know. I know Arrow because I've got the Blu-ray of it because Arrowhead have been doing this wonderful thing of re-releasing lots of old exploitation and cult films. And doing them giving them a lot of love and attention with special features, interviews, really nice little booklets. They did a beautiful box set of Videodrome, which had an art book, short films by David Cronenberg, and it's all really they really put a lot of love and care into all their releases. So they've been doing it with a lot of schlock and cult and exploitation stuff from the 80s and 70s and 90s. And Zombie Flesh Eaters was notoriously a video nasty over here in the UK. It was one of those. So it's strap itself in because it's fucking violent. And I love it.
If you could just ascertain for me, I found a link on YouTube proclaiming to be it.
Yes.
If you could just confirm that for us, then it's on YouTube.
Cool, let me have a look. Hope it's not a censored version.
Oh, it probably will be, I guess.
Completa subtitolata. That could be with subtitles, I warn you. Because don't forget, these are all Italian, which then had hilarious dubbing.
I've just listened, and it's got English dubbing for definite.
Tell the crew the boat can leave now. It has got Richard Johnson in it.
That video is blocked for me in my country.
Fuck.
Oh,
I've
great.
never been happier to say that.
It's trashy, but you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's a good gore film, and it's been a while since we've had proper splatter gore. So because 13 Ghosts failed to do it, it lied to me. And I thought that this is don't worry, this is better than Galaxy of Terror.
Yeah,
this is a coherent movie.
So you said it was called Zombie 2 in Italy, right?
Zombie 2 in Italy, Zombie in America. Apparently, in some places in America, it's called Zombie Flesh Eaters. So, yeah, I don't think it'd be on any streaming service. I know Midnight Pulp.
It's in Italian, right?
There are versions in Italian, but it is in
This is the 1979 movie, yeah? Is that a way we can kind of clearly define it? It looks like it might be on Amazon, Chris, in America.
It's fun. It's
like I'm looking at a video that could be it. I'm just waiting for someone to say something in some language so I can determine if it's Italian or not. It starts
with someone being shot. Tell the crew the boat can leave now. In a wonderful British accent because he's a British actor. But it's a fun little zombie film. I like it.
Yeah, that guy's getting shot.
Get shot in the head. Bandage on his face.
Well, this dude, okay, he's got like bandages all over him, but yeah, he was shot in the face. Oh, there's a guy in the darkness holding the gun. I can't see what his face. Oh, it's in English.
Yep, that's fine. That's the one.
All right.
Don't worry. This is a fun movie. It's really violent and it gets a lot of hate for unfair reasons. I think very unfair reasons. It gets a lot of hate. But we can go into that.
I will hope to be able to find those reasons for you. Next time when we get together on the podcast, I will find all the reasons to hate this movie for you. And it'll be fun.
Yes. Give in to the hate. But yeah, so I've been looking for an excuse to watch a Lucio Fulci film for a while. Because I have seen this one as well. I watched this when I was younger. But we can go into that on the next podcast because we can talk about it properly then. So otherwise I will wax lyrical for ages.
Yes. Wax lyrical on, wax lyrical off.
Wax on, wax off.
There you go. Thank you. I was like, I hope somebody gets that. Otherwise, I just sound like an idiot.
Still think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
So Zombie Flesh Eaters is the next one, or Zombie 2, or
what I found was called Lucio Fulci's Zombie 2 on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go. Zombie. Yeah, it's Lucio Fulci.
And it was in English with no subtitles.
Fine. It's in English. That's fine.
Seems like it's in a good quality as well. So on YouTube. Not having to worry about paying $3 for this shit.
Oh, I hope you both like it. I will, so it's fine. It's not perfect, but it's fun. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
It's not particularly long either.
Okay.
So, yeah. So there you go. That's my choice.
Well,
trash cinema for me.
Well, that was Hellblade.
It's interesting.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I know what my next choice is, and it's going to be interesting that we're backing to back them. That's all I'll say. That they've got similar themes, but I wonder how different they'll be.
Did you find Lucio Fulci's Zombie 3? Is that it?
Yeah, we're just we'll do them all.
We'll do them all. Starting with 2.
We won't watch all the zombie flesh eater films because there's only one good one, and it's the first one. The rest are trash. The dumpster fires. Dumpster fires.
And if you say they're dumpster fires, then that's probably a really legit statement, because I think that most of the movies that you talk about are dumpster fires.
Me and Chris are now going to watch this thinking, Matt thinks this is the good one.
Yeah.
Because it is. That's the consensus from a lot of people.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Sure I won't. I'll find ways to hate it. I want to hate it. I'll give in to the hate. The darkness.
Darkness. Darkness.
I need to do that. I mean, I have all the video recorded. There's really no reason I can't do that. I could totally go through Hellblade and just get all the darkness and pile it into one video and just submit that. It'd be fun.
Do it.
Darkness. Kind of like when they did a Homer Simpson supercut of all the times he says dough. That's awesome.
You should do it.
There's a fun one of the Harry Potter films with all the times they just say his name, Harry Potter. And that's about 6 minutes. So if you can get the darkness one to
2 hours, perfect.
2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be very disappointed that they only say it like a dozen times or something. What? I have to like slow-mo this to 10 hours, so it's like
like really drag out the S's.
Yes.
That was like one of the funniest videos I've ever seen on YouTube. Was when somebody took a segment of the Tom and Jerry movie, and that's the cat and mouse animated. If anyone doesn't know who Tom and Jerry is, but the scene they took was of one of the bad guys. He was like a money guy or something, because money's always bad. And the guy said something like, "We need more money," right? But the video
Got to have more
was
money.
they took that guy. The video is when he says money, they take that part and stretch it into 10 hours. So it's like, we've got to have more. And it just goes on forever. I died for like a minute, and I couldn't watch the rest of it. Obviously, it's just too much. But that's so funny. Memories.
Memories.
Like the corners of my mind. No, it's not good there.
But yeah, so that was Hellblade. I hope you like it, or liked us anyway. And
Like us.
I'm glad we got to talk
I really
about
hope
it.
they like us.
I hope they like us too. Or hate us. It's really the same thing when you perform.
It's the same thing on YouTube.
Yep.
Now don't forget to headbutt that excite like
What?
Headbutt the like button. So do you headbutt your phone or your computer?
Don't forget to just
button?
mash your face
I'm pretty sure
against
that's
the screen.
I'm pretty sure, like, given their ability to spell and their sheer anger, I'm pretty sure that's what most of them do anyway.
Yeah.
just headbutt that like button. Dong.
Like they put the mouse on the like button, then lean over the mouse, stand up, and then just slam their face on the mouse. Like
that
just
scene in Ace
destroys
Ventura.
the desk too. Just pow.
That scene, Ace Ventura, when he goes into the mental home and he just slams his face into the sea. That's what they told me to do.
That's the fun side of mental illness right there. Very topical.
Amazing.
Yes, I am.
Well, all that remains to be said is he is indeedy. You can check out his full and barely edited playthrough of Hellblade: Senua Sacrifice, or you can find it yourself and play through.
And next time
That's
we're
it.
going to be watching Zombie 2, much to my disappointment. Matt, eventually I'm
Don't
going to
hate my
replace
news.
you.
This is like the second zombie film I've picked as well.
Well, sure.
Incidentally, if you're watching at the link that will be in the description below for Zombie 2, I have it paused at 10 minutes 31, and the man has a really odd look on his face. Everyone's going to scramble to 10:31 now.
Oh, I know which one.
I'm not. I'll get to it eventually.
I will leave you with one final thing. I hope you enjoy the shark.
Yeah, I saw a shark.
It's got
I was
sharks.
like, why is there a shark? Skip, waiting for more, because the shark isn't going to speak Italian or English. So I skipped
How'd you
trying
know?
to find some dialogue. What?
What?
Did you...
I'm just fucking with you.
Oh,
now.
so I thought you said, yeah, actually, he does.
Go
Like,
to the
holy
island.
shit. Yeah.
Off
Shark,
the
shark,
dragon.
shark. Or we need more.
Sharks.
It's a bait and switch. You think it's a zombie movie, but it's actually about sharks.
Yeah.
It's a shark where you get bitten and turn to a shark.
Wow.
Land sharks. I'm going to copyright it.
There
Land
you go.
sharks. Oh, that's already done.
There
Killer
we go.
Beach. It's
Killer
a movie about
Beach.
Killer Beach, actually.
Yeah.
I've seen too much shit. I've seen too many movies.
We've clearly gone on too long.
Where am I? What's going on?
Yep. So.
Well, until next time, let's just go watch Zombie.
Yeah, let's go and do it.
Meet you back here next time.
I'm going to slowly shamble towards the zombie and maybe, hopefully, never make it.
Join us.
I'd rather not.
Don't forget to like and facepalm your keyboard if you enjoyed this episode.
Facepalm
Headbutt your keyboard.
Now, hold on. Does that
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
you put your palm under the keyboard and slam it into your face?
Don't forget to
However
headbutt that like
you
button.
do it, I don't care. Just do it.
Do it.
Don't forget to don't forget to headbutt that like button and lick the subscribe button. And don't forget to give that bell icon a little tickle.
A little tickle.
That's creepy.
Stare intently and lovingly at the subscribe button.
So it notices you.
We've got to
Okay,
quit.
that's
That's it. We're done. Roll
can't have it.
music. Trail off. We need to go.
This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madicus Finch, and Garlips. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.